Introduction to Holding Demons. If I hold demons, there are no immortals in heaven and earth. If I hold on to the sky, heaven and earth have no demons. This is a story that begins in the Rain Immortal Realm, a world where my life is like a butterfly cutting in reincarnation. Looking back at the mundane world like smoke, a smile faded the bright moon just for her, crossing the rain world. The 3 rings of the heavenly way, the 3 steps of cultivation, and the 2 characters of emptiness and truth run through the beginning and end. The first step is to cultivate the 7 realms. Clearing meridians, melting spirits, golden pills, elemental babies, transforming spirits, refining emptiness, and breaking emptiness. Chapter 1. Tai Gu One Dream, Yin Yang Lok. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. A billion years ago, in the vast expanse of the vast expanse of the vast expanse of stars, bathed in the radiance of the heavens, lay a giant sleeping. He was dressed in purple, with unparalleled charm. With every breath, countless stars were shattered and reborn. On his giant body, he opened up billions of continents, mountains and rivers, ancient cities, and immortal territories. Countless fairies smaller than ants kneel to the ground, ring the morning bell together, and devoutly pray to the void. Please awaken the immortal emperor and go to Dala Tian to preach to the 1 billion divine realm. Wait, let me sleep a little longer. I dreamt of an interesting little guy. Ning Fan Mo. Time and space are intertwined, 1 billion years later. 4 heavens and 9 realms, Rain Immortal Realm, Yu Kingdom, Li Mengshan, Huanhe Sect. Within the Huanhe Sect, there are only female cultivators, and the techniques they practice are even more evil and shameless. Outside the Hall of Harmony, several young girls were disheveled and walked out of the hall, their faces flushed. Starting from today, we will officially join the demon sect. They left the Hall of Harmony and returned to their rooms to rest, while the voices of countless women still came from within, tormenting someone. In the hall, there is a black Buddha statue enshrined. The copper lamp was filled with lamp oil, emitting a quiet glow. Several young girls of young age are on the ground in the main hall, at the feet of the black Buddha, humiliating a young man and using all their skills. These girls all have decent looks and are charming and charming. Being served by these girls, the young man had no enjoyment at all. He had numb eyes, a dull expression, and a hint of sadness on his face. He is a cauldron furnace, betrayed by someone and sold to the demon sect to make cauldron furnaces for the female demon heads. His body has become numb, and within a day, he has been blessed and replenished by nearly 100 young girls. Not far from death. Is sister's service still comfortable? A girl in a bun teased the boy and asked coldly. It's uncomfortable, disgusting. You guys, kill me. The boy stubbornly replied. It's just a cauldron stove. It's just a tool for us sisters to pick up the sun. How dare we talk back? We don't know how to live or die. The twin bun girl's eyes were cold with murderous intent. She didn't have the slightly delicate appearance she had just shown. With a slap, she slapped the young man and made his lips and teeth bleed. Then, with a pitiful expression, he lifted the young man's face and asked, seemingly concerned, "My little enemy, does it hurt? If you don't kill me, one day I will seek revenge against this sect." The young man had no cultivation, but his eyes were filled with hatred. Cluck, cluck. I didn't expect you to have such a bad breath. Okay, I'll wait and see how you can take revenge on us. But cluck, there's never a cauldron furnace that can be served by sisters for 3 days. Your yang is very low. Maybe you will die after tonight. Cluck, come on, kiss your sister. Get lost. The young man roared with grief and anger. Huanhe sect, a female cultivator of the demon sect, cultivates techniques that require the collection of male yang energy, which is despised by the righteous path. They are not serving young people, but gradually adopting their youthful yang energy and tormenting them to death. The moon floated into the night sky, and the last group of girls finally returned to their rooms to rest. In the Hall of Harmony, there was only a young man left, with scattered energy. He has fair skin, but now his whole body is covered in the kisses of female demons. He has long hair like a waterfall, but at this moment, everything above his long hair is dirty. He was almost depleted of yang energy and his life was in danger, but in his eyes, hatred remained undiminished. Under the hatred, there was still a hint of worry. I don't know what's going on, my little brother. He should have been sold to the demon sect by a traitor, right? The young man's name is Ning Fan, the son of a servant of the Ning family in Haining, Wu. He was sold to the demon sect by a traitor from the Ning family. He has a younger brother named Ning Gu, who is also trafficked. This is the realm of cultivation, a world of the jungle. Even women, as long as their cultivation is amazing, can freely recruit men. I'm not willing. Ning Fan gritted his teeth and was kind to others. Unexpectedly, he ended up like this. I want to escape from the Huanhe sect, I want to join the immortal sect and seek revenge. He struggled to get up, but his fingers lacked any strength, and his lower body was numb. He had been humiliated and lost his senses, unable to move. The gate of the Hall of Harmony was not locked, and the witches did not even use ropes to lock Ning Fan. They don't think that Ning Fan still has the strength to escape from the Hall of Harmony. They don't even think that Ning Fan can live through tonight. The most difficult to accept the grace of a beautiful woman. 100 witches have humiliated Ning Fan. Ning Fan's essence has dissipated and he will undoubtedly die. Am I going to die? I'm not willing. He closed his eyes in despair and his breathing gradually became weak. The night is peaceful, with only the chirping of crickets echoing outside the Hall of Harmony. Ning Fan knew that this was the sound of crickets courting, and thinking that crickets were also courting made him feel nauseous. As he was about to die, the door of the Jiaohe Hall creaked open. A girl in white, aged 12 or 13, with several mantu in her arms, crept into the hall. How old are you? Do you also want to recruit me? If you don't learn well at a young age, give me a good time. Ning Fan turned his head away, his anger burning, and he stared at the girl in white. Big brother, I'm not here to pick you up. The girl saw Ning Fan's white body, her face flushed, and she turned her face away, her voice trembling a bit. With you, you dare to pick me up. Ha. Cough cough. Ning Fan laughed sadly, but due to weakness, he coughed violently. The girl hurriedly came over, took out mantu, put it on the ground, and gently patted Ning Fan's chest with her small hand to make Ning Fan feel better. I won't thank you. Ning Fan sneered stubbornly. I'm really not here to pick and repair you. Big brother, I was also caught by the Sha Gu. My brother, who was treated as a cauldron furnace, died 3 years ago. They saw that I was still young and didn't kill me, but as I grew up, I also had to pick and repair the cauldron furnace and join the demon sect. The girl spoke of her deceased brother and tears fell down her face with a purity that was completely different from the witches. Ning Fan's heart softened and she believed the girl's words. Big brother, you must live on, don't die. The girl's face was sad, and he felt like Ning Fan and her brother seemed to be. The devil sect was not allowed to feed the Ding furnace man, but the girl risked punishment and stole mantu for Ning Fan to eat. She is really kind-hearted. I don't want to die either, I want revenge, I want to go save my younger brother. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. Big brother, if you eat mantu, you may not die. You have been squeezed dry by them, so you must make up. Unfortunately, I don't have immortal vein, so I can't cultivate, otherwise, I will catch a pheasant and make soup for you. Silly girl, you have hands and feet, you should escape. Escape from the demon sect and live an ordinary girl's life. Don't stay here, it's too dirty. Cough 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 cough. Ning Fan is determined to die from self-blame and has no desire for survival. On the brink of death, a girl cared for herself, making him feel the warmth of being a good person in the end. He was content, he didn't want the girl to die here. I was planted by them. There is no antidote and I can't escape. Brother, stop talking and eat mantu. I'll feed you. After entering the house at night, Ning Fan gradually had difficulty breathing and could not swallow mantu. Let's go. Ning Fan knew he was going to die, and he didn't want this innocent girl to see her dead. Big brother. The girl felt a pain in her heart. She could see that Ning Fan was dying, and before each cauldron furnace died, it looked like Ning Fan. His brother had a normal expression back then. You're not leaving yet. Ning Fan gritted his teeth and drove away. He had a lifeless expression on his face and his body had begun to cool. Big brother, then, I'm leaving. I picked up this jade pendant on the mountain, and wearing it on my body won't make me cold anymore. The girl took a jade lock from her chest, still holding her body temperature, and placed it in Ning Fan's hand. She let out a faint sigh, wiped away her tears, and left the main hall looking for the library www.zhaozhuiyuan.com. What is your name? Ning Fan's consciousness gradually lost. My name is Jihe. The girl couldn't bear to turn around, lowered her voice, and fled as if leaving the Hall of Harmony. Big brother, he's also dead. One day, he will also die. We are all hard-working people. Ning Fan's breath dissipated, and before he fell into a coma, there was only one feeling. His heart was finally no longer cold and had a hint of warmth. In a daze, he had an illusion that his palm, holding the jade lock, was also warm. He had a short dream, in which he was in a hazy void. In front of him stood 1,000 Zhuang fire monument, and there was a half-black and half-white sun in the sky. There are characters on the monument, but they are too dazzling to read clearly. Immediately, he felt that his body was gradually warming up. The girl named Paper Crane doesn't seem to be lying to herself. This ancient jade lock really seems to make people's bodies warm. Ning Fan did not notice that at the moment when he was unconscious, the woman's blood and man's yang in his palm stained the jade lock, causing it to emit a faint red light, extremely beautiful. And his originally dissipated yang energy is gradually recovering. An ancient and obscure chanting of scriptures sounded from the jade lock. Xian realm treasure, yin and yang lock, heaven as wife, earth as concubine, life as cauldron, yin and yang avenue, combining double cultivation. This voice echoed in Ning Fan's mind for a long time. And his Ning Gomzi's demonic name will be written from today. Chapter 2. The old demon accepts his apprentices. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The night is coming to an end, the moon is light and the stars are sparse. Ning Fan sat up and looked at the jade lock in his hand, feeling somewhat silent. He didn't die and was saved by Wuxia. Jade locks are ordinary jade stones that are worthless in the cultivation world, but they have wonderful uses. The green jade carries a trace of blood, as delicate as a virgin's blood. Holding the jade, Ning Fan felt warm all over his body, and his body was filled with a stream of heat, giving him endless strength. He didn't know that during his coma, the jade lock red light opened up a pulse for him to repair. He is already a cultivator who has opened up one layer of veins, and also a demon cultivator. He also did not know that the cultivation channel he had opened was a once-in-a-thousand-year ancient demon channel. Looking at the jade lock, Ning Fan sneered. Perhaps this is the magic weapon of immortals. Immortals. It's really good to be a fairy. When life is about to die, you can use the magic weapon to restore yang and live. Your cultivation is amazing, and you can regard ethics as nothing and bully mortals at will. Ning Fan praised the immortal with his mouth, but his eyes were full of contempt. Because of him, he witnessed the dirtiest side of immortals. I disdain immortal things. He reached out to throw away the jade lock, but suddenly withdrew his hand and remained silent. It was ultimately this lock that saved my life. What is wrong is not the magic weapon, what is wrong is the immortal who abuses the magic weapon. What is it to vent one's anger on the magic weapon? I want to escape, take advantage of the dawn to escape from the Xianxia sect. I want to traverse the rivers and mountains to find my younger brother's whereabouts. I want to cultivate immortality. To seek revenge. He stood up, pulled off the Taoist robe from the black Buddha statue in front of him, and put it on. This garment, used for offering to the black Buddha, is a decent treasure. He didn't know that he only stole it to cover up his shame. Sneaking out of the Hall of Harmony, at this moment, the female demons of the Xianxia sect were still resting and practicing, with only sporadic disciples guarding the mountain. He walked in the dark all the way, hiding behind a tree on the back mountain path. He held his breath and was as careful as a wild beast, only one step away from escaping down the mountain. Escaping only one step away, he was at the end of the path, but hesitated whether to escape alone. He thought of the paper crane, the girl who saved him. Without the paper crane as a gift of Jade, he would undoubtedly die. Should I escape alone or take her with me? If you turn the way back, you may be discovered by the mountain guarding disciples. If you want to escape, should you take her with you? When he hesitated, the entire Limington suddenly shook and the mountain almost collapsed. And a wild laughter echoed throughout the night sky of Xianxia sect. Just a lowly demon gate, dare to kill my disciple, seek death. Sha Jiuyo, get out of me. Ning Fan suddenly raised his head, only to see an old man in a black robe standing in the sky under the waning moon, looking down at the world like ants. The appearance of this person alarmed the entire Xianxia sect, with lights shining brightly. Countless women dressed without covering their bodies, when they went out to explore, they saw the old man standing on the sky, all of whom were pale with flowers. Stepping on the sky and breaking through the sky, the old monster of the fusion spirit period. In the 4 heavens and 9 realms, the cultivation level is divided into 7 realms. Opening meridians, melting spirits, golden pills, elemental infants, transforming spirits, refining emptiness, and breaking emptiness. The 2nd realm spirit fusion master can break free from the constraints of heaven and earth, and stand tall in the sky. Xianxia sect is in the state of you, but it is just a last-tier sect. The sect leader, Sha Jiuyo, is just a female demon with 10 layers of meridians. Only because Sha Jiuyo once had a romantic relationship with an old monster in the Rongling period, did no one dare to provoke him. But unexpectedly, today a Rongling old monster attacked the mountain gate, intending to destroy the Xianxia sect. Sha Jiuyo stood on the ground, unable to soar, even under the pressure of the old demon, unable to stand steadily. She had beautiful eyes, but she had no idea how she had offended this old demon. Senior, it's ridiculous to say that Xianxia sect harmed your disciple. I know my cultivation is low, and I hold a cauldron and a royal man. I never dare to catch anyone with cultivation, afraid of offending someone who cannot be provoked. I have never harmed your disciple, please be aware of it. Without evidence, do not underestimate a good person. My husband is also a spiritual fusion expert. Sha Jiuyo's words were threatening, but her words only made the old demon sneer. Evidence, haha. I killed someone, there's no need for evidence. Broken Dan Ding, give it to me. The old demon sneered and took out a small cauldron from his waist pouch, with 6 corners, 8 edges, and 3 legs, and a black aura soaring to the sky. Without saying a word, he threw down the small cauldron and pinched it. The cauldron grew against the wind and instantly turned into a 100 Zhuang giant, crashing heavily onto the top of Xianxia sect mountain. In an instant, half of the mountain top was flattened by a cauldron, and smoke and dust filled the sky. As the old demon pointed to the lid of the cauldron, the sound of dragon chanting could be heard from the cauldron, and 9 black fire dragons flew up into the sky, seemingly possessing spirituality, killing people recklessly in the Xianxia sect. Any female cultivator bitten by a black dragon would scream in agony and be instantly burned to ashes. Sha Jiuyo's flower face was pale, and she finally recognized the old man's identity from this magic cauldron. Broken Dan Ding, Han Yuanji, you are Han Laoma of the Ghost Sparrow sect. Unable to withstand the 9 Yus without fear, Ghost Sparrow sect, Han Yuanji, relied on the broken pill cauldron and black dragon demon fire to use his cultivation in the later stage of roaming to angrily slay a golden pill old monster, shaking the world. This person is one of the top 10 masters of the Yu Kingdom demon sect. Even if he is a once-in-a-lifetime roaming old demon, he should avoid Han Yuanji. Today, Huanhe sect is afraid that they will really exterminate their sect, because they have offended a shocking old demon for some unknown reason. With just a few breaths, half of the female disciples of the Huanhe sect died. But Sha Jiuyo had no intention of caring, only closed his eyes and waited for death. Korean one is eager to kill, so no one can escape. At this moment, Ning Fan's heart was shaken for the first time. In his heart, the figure of the old demon standing in the sky under the waning moon was imprinted. Without strength, one will be insulted by others, but once one has strength, one can stand tall and overlook the world. He felt a surge in his heart, thinking that one day he would rise above 10,000 people. Only in this way can he not be oppressed. His mind twitched, and the jade lock tightly held in his palm emitted a faint red light that no one noticed. But after feeling emotional, Ning Fan's face suddenly changed drastically. He remembered the old demon who came to destroy the sect. He wants to kill all the nuns, wouldn't he want to kill the paper crane together? We have to take her away, otherwise she will be killed by the old demon by mistake. He could come down the mountain with just one step, but his heart trembled as he turned and ran back to Huanhe sect. This step, a decision, will completely change his life. Now the Huanhe sect has become chaotic, with no one paying attention to Ning Fan. He turned left and right, searched dozens of disciple rooms, and finally found the paper crane in one room. The paper crane hid in the corner, with a pale face and trembling. In front of her, several female disciples died tragically, and the culprit was a ferocious black dragon. "Help me, big brother, help me." Jihe saw Ning Fan come in and begged for help with sorrow. But later, the black dragon had already opened its mouth and bit towards the paper crane. In a critical moment, Ning Fan had nothing in his hand and was extremely anxious. He threw the jade lock out of his hand and smashed it towards the black fire dragon. This lock is finally a magic weapon, it should be able to slightly block the black dragon. A lock hit the dragon's body, and he didn't look at the result. He pulled up the panicked paper crane and quickly retreated towards the door. He didn't expect to kill the black dragon with just one lock, but something surprising happened to him. The black dragon, hit by the jade lock, let out a scream and turned into a black flame, which was absorbed by the jade lock. On top of the blue jade lock, there are several blood streaks. Ning Fan picked up the jade lock. He knew it was a magic weapon before, but he didn't know it was so powerful. There is a sudden change here, no one knows, the 9 ghosts of Sha do not know, and the female demons all over the mountain do not know. But the old demon, who had originally stood on the sky and laughed wildly, changed his face greatly and showed no trace of pride. 9 fire dragons, 1 died, how could it be? He swept his mind and his perception spread throughout the entire Limeng mountain. In the room where the fire dragon died, there were only Ning Fan and Ji He. A blood-breaking junior, immortal, can they destroy my fire dragon? Wait, this is... The old demon's divine mind swept over Ning Fan, but did not see the mystery of the jade lock, but discovered the mystery inside Ning Fan's body. This junior is an ancient demon vein, and surprisingly good, great, really great. It doesn't matter whether the Huanhe sect can be destroyed or not at this moment. Another thought rose in his heart. He opened his mouth and sucked in 8 fire dragons, recalled the black cauldron, and with a move on his sleeve robe, a fierce wind swept through and directly toppled pieces of disciple rooms. Among them, several hidden nuns were revealed, as well as Ning Fan, who was pulling a paper crane and was about to escape. "Destroy my dragon, still want to run?" The old demon sneered at the corner of his mouth, took a brisk step, transformed into a black shadow, and flashed to the ground, appearing next to Ning Fan, squeezing his neck. "Kid, how do you want to die?" The old demon unleashed all his killing energy, as if under a real killing intent. Ning Fan felt that under the pressure, all his internal organs were shattered and bleeding. "Just spit out the power of the old magic palm and you will surely die." "He wants to kill me." Ning Fan's eyes instinctively flashed with fear, but soon, this fear was suppressed by his life. He is kind to others, but he has been betrayed and humiliated by others. In his bones, he has already developed a ruthlessness. The old demon asked him how he wanted to die, but Ning Fan, why should he die? "I want you to die." Ning Fan swung the jade lock and fiercely smashed it at the old demon's spirit, but the old man did not hide. The jade lock can easily kill the black dragon and hit the old demon without any harm. And that old demon, being attacked by Ning Fan, not only did not get angry, but also laughed up in the sky. Okay. The kid is good, has courage, and has the potential to cultivate demons." As the old demon's smile and murderous aura subsided, his expression suddenly became solemn. "Young generation, do you want to be a disciple of Laozi? It seems that you have lost your yang energy, so you must have acted as a cauldron for others. It's a pity to have broken your body, but it doesn't matter. Just nod your head, and I will help you and pacify the Huanhe sect." "I don't want to," Ning Fan stubbornly retorted. He hates demons, he wants to become immortal, he wants to kill demons. "Don't want it." "Huh, I accept my apprenticeship." "I don't care if you want it or not. If you dare to say no more, I will strip the little girl next to you of her clothes and take her back to the demon sect to be used as a cauldron furnace. I will give you 3 breaths. If you don't nod, you will definitely regret it. 1. 2. Ning Fan gritted his teeth and looked at the frightened paper crane beside him, clenching his fists. "Cannot die, everything is meaningless. One day, I will let you know that accepting me as an apprentice is the biggest mistake you have ever made in your life." Ning Fan gritted his teeth and finally nodded. "Okay. Keep up with the times, I like it. Now you're my disciple, Huanhe sect, I'll leave it to you to handle. If you say kill, I'll kill. Do you say not to kill, hee. The old demon's gaze turned cold, revealing a profound smile. "Leave it to me." Ning Fan looked at the night sky and closed her eyes in silence. He detests immortals and even more detests the demon sect, but from today on, he wants to become a part of the demon sect. But what about the devil's way? Perhaps, compared to hypocrites and false Taoism, the devil's way is more suitable for oneself, because one has already witnessed the ugliness of the world. Ning Fan released the paper crane and, under the attention of the disciples of the Manchu sect, walked towards the Huanhe sect leader Sha Jiuyo. Yesterday, in the eyes of disciples of the Huanhe sect, he was just a lowly cauldron. But today, he transformed and became a disciple of Han Laomo. The female cultivator who managed to survive quietly avoided Ning Fan as she approached, as if watching the plague god. And the double-bun girl who humiliated Ning Fan yesterday fell to the ground in fear under Ning Fan's gaze. Nowadays, Ning Fan just needs to open his mouth and can invite the old demon to destroy the Huanhe sect. Tang demon sect, life and death are between Ning Fan's thoughts. Ning Fan walked up to Sha Jiuyo and reached out to pinch her chin. The head of the Sha Jiuyo Tang sect was humiliated by a mortal, with a beautiful eye full of Sha. She almost wanted to slap Ning Fan to death with one palm, but she dared not. My own life and death are now intertwined with Ning Fan's thoughts. Cluck, my lord, but I am interested in my body. If you promise not to kill my body, I am willing to serve as my lord's pillow. Sha Jiuyo had an unparalleled appearance, but Ning Fan didn't show any concern and only sneered. Where is my younger brother Ninggu? Your younger brother, Ninggu. That, Xianxia Dinglu. He was bought by a female senior of the Qianli demon sect. Sha Jiuyo had no impression of Ning Fan and went to the book garden www.zhaozhuan.com, but he seemed to have a deep impression of Ninggu. At this moment, life and death are held by Ning Fan, and he naturally knows everything without hesitation. Senior, kill them. Ning Fan closed his eyes. Although his cultivation was not high, his mind was sharp and he was not foolish. He vaguely speculated that the reason why the old demon made him decide on the disposal method of the Huanhe sect may be a test. The test is whether he is qualified to enter the demon gate. Demon gate, when killing, let alone against enemies. The whereabouts of my younger brother have been asked. What is the use of leaving behind the 9 Yus and others? He can even propose to take Sha Jiuyo and others as cauldrons, but he disdains it. Kid, you have a good plan. What's your name? The old demon smiled with satisfaction. If Ning Fan had any mercy, he would definitely kill her without mercy. Even though Ning Fan was the kind of ancient demon vein he had been searching for, without a demon heart, he was not worthy of being a demon. Ning Fan. Ning Fan looked at the old demon's smile, although it was warm, his vest felt cold. Han Yuanji is a true demon. Stay with him and be careful everywhere, otherwise you will die. Ghost Bird Sect is a place of evil with numerous crises, but one must survive. Holding the Jade Lock, Ning Fan secretly swore. And the red light of the Jade Lock was once again faint. In the Jade Lock, a woman's sweet and dreamy voice could be heard, gradually awakening without anyone noticing. Is this the Rain World? Chapter 3. Inheritance of Immortal Emperor and Transformation of Ning Fan. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Huanhe Sect, 107 women, were annihilated by Han Laomo alone. Those who died in the black fire before are considered lucky. Those who died later were all unbearable. Han Laomo's murder seems to be a form of performance art. He hasn't violated a woman, that's not his style. Never show mercy to your enemies, otherwise you will regret it in the future. This is the first lesson that Han Laomo taught Ning Fan. Peeling, waist cutting, chariot cracking, Ling Qi, hanging the head, cooking, inserting needles, burying alive, poisoning, stick punishment, sawing, vertebral fracture, lead infusion, brushing, playing the pipa, and intestinal pumping, any means that Han Laomo could think of were employed. When morning comes, on Mount Limeng, it will be a mess with broken flesh and limbs, and even feces and urine. Xiao Zhihe had already fainted when Han Laomo killed the first person, but Ning Fan gritted his teeth and forcefully looked from head to tail. The blood and stench made Ning Fan vomit 3 times and finally adapted to the scene of the massacre. Ning Fan had to watch, he was not foolish. He could guess that if he couldn't bear the murder, if he fainted like a paper crane, Han Laomo would not hesitate to kill him. Gikei's sect, Han Yuanji, this is a true demon who constantly tests Ning Fan. Kid, that's really good. When I was apprenticed, my master was the same. He destroyed a demon gate, and at that time, I vomited 6 times. Han Laomo looked at Ning Fan, his eyes shining brightly. This person has a tenacious temperament and is a good cultivator of demons. Han Laomo didn't know that Ning Fan was originally the most bloodless. He doesn't want to see blood, but he has to, otherwise he will die. Let's go, I'll take you back to Chimei City. The old demon held a paper crane in one hand and Ning Fan in the other, his feet soaring into the sky and leaving. From beginning to end, Ning Fan did not say any unnecessary words to the old demon. Nowadays, he is a man of knives and tribulations, only seeking survival, and speaking too much will inevitably lead to loss. The old demon's flight speed was extremely fast. One day later, he flew from the western region of Yu to the northern region of Yu, spanning thousands of miles. In the middle, he flew over the Orthodox sect several times, and whenever anyone dared to stop him, the old demon would be shocked to death with a cauldron. In the northern regions, there is an ice-cast city called Chime City. The entire city was shrouded in a strange cold, as if even the soul could freeze. Seven Plum City has thousands of cultivators, including even 3 spiritual fusion masters. Sensing the movement of the old demon breaking through the air, the 3 masters stepped onto the sky and clouds together. When they saw the old demon, they all looked respectful. "See the Lord. Free gift, let's all get out of here." Han Laoma drove away the 3 of them, but looked deeply at Ning Fan. Ning Fan is on guard against the 7 Plum Blossom City and 3 experts, which is great. When entering unfamiliar places and seeing strangers, a sense of vigilance is essential. I am the Lord of the 7 Plum Blossom City in one of the 4 statues of the Ghost Sparrow sect, Han Yaozun. There is still half a year left until the Ghost Sparrow sect accepts disciples. I will give you half a year to upgrade my cultivation to the 5th level of the pulse opening, otherwise I will die. The old demon looked at the 7 Plum City under the sea of clouds, and his originally bold and domineering eyes inadvertently flashed a hint of sadness. This sadness, appearing on him as a killer, is very strange. This is a demon with a story. Ning Fan had no intention of prying into Han Laoma's secret, as he was seeking his own death. Ning Fan, at the age of 16, was a servant of the Ning family in Haining. He was plotted and sold into the Demon Gate. He was separated from his younger brother, obtained a Jade lock, worshipped the Demon Lord, and entered the 7 Plum City. In the moonlight, in the icy wind, Ning Fan reminisces about the past and holds the Jade lock in his palm, which becomes even tighter. He has been captured in Chime City for 3 days now. On the windowsill, there is a book called 7 Plum Blossom Record. This book seems to have been written by a female demon in 7 Plum Blossom City, not about practicing martial arts, but only an introduction to cultivation and demon cultivation. When Han Laoma handed this book to Ning Fan, his eyes seemed to be cannibalistic. "I'll give this book to you. If it's damaged within 6 months, I'll make you pay for it." In the book, there are techniques for opening up meridians. To cultivate immortality, one needs to absorb the spiritual power of heaven and earth, and to absorb spiritual power, one needs meridians. This meridian cannot be a mortal meridian, but needs to be an immortal meridian. The cultivation of the righteous path and the creation of immortal veins are called divine veins. The cultivation of evil in the path of evil is called the demon vein. The cultivation of demon beasts and demons creates an immortal vein called the demon vein. Generally speaking, immortal meridians all have yin and yang attributes, either yin or yang, making it difficult to reconcile yin and yang. The first stage of cultivation, the period of opening meridians, does not require special techniques, and even many ordinary people have heard of the method of opening meridians. But none of them can successfully open the pulse. All who succeed are the children of heaven, with the hope of entering the immortal realm. Ning Fan closed his eyes and his mind was immersed. He felt the heat flow in his body, flowing near the dantian, along a strange path. That route is the yin meridian in his body. But faintly, Ning Fan felt that there was also an illusory yang pulse hidden next to the yin pulse. Only oneself can feel it, which others cannot perceive. This situation is referred to as the Tai Gu Shen Mo Mai in the 7 Plum Blossoms record. It is said that in ancient times, there was an immortal emperor who practiced both righteousness and evil, and was revered as the Sun Emperor by countless immortals in the sky. Countless immortals and demons have worshipped under Emperor Sun and listened to the preaching scriptures. The method of clearing the ancient divine and demon meridians is a secret that is not passed down. It is rumored that many powerful supernatural powers lost in ancient times require the ancient divine and demon veins to be unleashed. Create a meridian. It's like opening up a layer of veins. Creating 4 meridians is equivalent to creating 2 layers of meridians. Similarly, if Han Laoma allows him to reach the 5th level of meridian clearing within 6 months, he needs to clear 25 meridians. The Haining Ning family is a cultivation family, but Ning Fan has only served as a servant since childhood and has no money to cultivate immortals. How can we talk about opening up the ancient demon veins? Ning Fan vaguely understood that the reason why his ancient demon veins were opened up was all bestowed by the Jade Lock. Paper Crane, I don't know how she's doing. Ning Fan held the Jade Lock in his hand and sighed. I survived by chance and obtained the mysterious treasure of the Jade Lock, which was bestowed upon me by the Paper Crane. She is a good girl. For a long time, Ning Fan collected his thoughts and looked at the Jade Lock, but remained silent. He has a weak physique, but a persevering personality and a smart mind. After experiencing a major disaster, the city gradually sank. He realized a problem. This Jade Lock can help people open up ancient magic veins. If others know that he is carrying this treasure, they will definitely cause a fatal accident. Where should I hide this Jade Lock? Ning Fan was lost in thought when suddenly the Jade Lock emitted a faint red light, and from it came a soft and delicate voice of a woman. Wake up, finally wake up. Lang Jun, don't worry, why don't you hide this Jade Lock in the elixir field? How about that? The sound quietly passed away, and the Jade Lock suddenly turned into a red light, shining into the Ningfan Dantian. And for an instant, he felt his lower body burning hot, panting like a cow, unable to vent his desire. Who are you, and what is this Jade Lock? Ning Fan's face darkened as he could feel that there were many Jade Locks in his elixir field, but he could not remove them. And his body, as the Jade Lock entered, became increasingly hot. Cluck, this lock is a yin-yang lock and a treasure in the Xian realm. If you can recognize the master and inherit this lock, it won't be a big deal if you reach the 5th level of pulse creation within 6 months. Even if you break through the melting spirit period within 6 months, it will be a small matter. Just the lower realm sects of the Ghost Sparrow sect and the Sparrow God Child won't harm you. Why is my body hot? Why? Sister, didn't she say that the yin and yang lock is about to become the Lord? This yin and yang lock is the most demonic treasure, and if you income from the elixir field, you will become the Lord. If you don't have enough cultivation, you will become demonic. You are leaving as a lustful demon, and you need to find a woman to reunite in order to get rid of the obsession. Otherwise, you will die. After speaking, the mysterious woman let out a few cheerful and coquettish smiles, and then fell silent again. Ning Fan complained incessantly, falling on the couch, his whole body burning like fire. Don't say he doesn't want to have fun with people, even if he wishes. In the place where the 7 plums city is full of demons, no woman would do this with him. Xian realm treasure, yin and yang lock, heaven as wife, earth as concubine, livelihood as cauldron, yin-yang avenue, combining double cultivation. Lock the yin of heaven, suppress the yang of life, seize the desire of heaven, transform the Tao demon. There is nothing more than this in the creation of all heavens. Once worshipped by the Sun Emperor, one can live forever. In his mind, inexplicable sounds echoed, making Ning Fan's body even hotter and more unbearable. Red complexion, hot skin, not far from death. In a daze, Ning Fan only felt that he was in his arms and suddenly burst into a cold and delicate body. And with all their desires, they seemed to have found a point of release. Warm spring night tense. In the morning, Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes and looked at the delicate body beside him, his face sinking like water. Beside him, the petite body of the paper crane was covered in traces of its own asterisk, and there was a pool of blood on the brocade quilt, like 7 plums in the snow. Her small face is still marked with tears, pear blossoms with rain, charming and charming. Her lips are dry and cracked, her chest is small, and she has bruises and blood stasis. My lower body was in a mess. Ning Fan, what have you done? She's still a child. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. Big brother, don't die. The paper crane is here to save you. In the murmur, the paper crane was talking in its sleep, unconsciously turning over and causing scars on its body, causing it to furrow slightly in pain. This dream is destined not to be sweet. Ning Fan struggled up and looked at the paper crane with pity, feeling guilty. He reached out his palm, trying to erase the woman's tears. But in an instant, there was a sharp pain in his mind that almost made him faint. Why do you have another headache? What kind of demon has gone away this time? He felt sad and angry in his heart, angrily asking the mysterious woman in the yin-yang lock. Lang Jun, don't worry. The yin and yang lock has already become your master and won't be possessed by demons anymore. This headache is a good thing. The yin and yang lock is a possession of the immortal emperor, and with the inheritance of the immortal emperor, you can obtain it. My sister was ignorant and wanted to become your master with the yin and yang lock, but due to poor preparation, she was devoured by demons and trapped in the lock. You are lucky, but with my sister's help, you have gained the memory of the immortal emperor for free. Memory of the immortal emperor. What is the immortal emperor? Ning Fan's face was surprised. In the rain world where he lived, his highest cultivation level was only the broken void old monster, but even such an old monster, no one dared to call himself the immortal emperor. What kind of person can be the immortal emperor? The memory inheritance of the immortal emperor is far superior to those shattered and void old monsters. Accompanied by a piercing pain in his mind, a series of memories imprinted in Ning Fan's mind. I am the great emperor of chaos, who worshipped under the door of Emperor Sun to listen and understand the yin and yang Tao. I have no children in my life. At the time of transforming the Tao, I forged this immortal treasure and passed on my 3 thoughts to future generations. Emperor Sun once said, beyond the first ring of the heavenly Tao, the art of art cannot be lightly passed on. Therefore, all the thoughts and techniques passed down by this emperor are in the first ring. My first thought is to record what you have learned in your life. It is rare for someone as knowledgeable as you in the first link of the heavenly way. The mind was pierced by memories, piercing through the soul with pain. Even ordinary spiritual fusion masters may not be able to endure this pain, but Ning Fan experienced a great change, and his heart was like a sea of demons. He gritted his teeth and endured it. And the inheritance he received made him feel that the pain he suffered was not worth mentioning. The content covered by these memories made Ning Fan's heart tremble with fear. Medical divination and astrology, the study of the 100 classics, alchemy, poetry, songs, and prose, all contain the content of righteousness and evil. If spread, the rain world will be earth-shattering. Without preparation, the second thought of inheritance comes with it. The pain this time seems like an iron brush washing away my mind. Even a master of the golden elixir may not be able to endure it. Ning Fan had a nosebleeds, which ignited his inner malice. By inheriting from the immortal emperor, one can conquer heaven and earth, and change one's destiny against the heavens. He never wants to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Pain, so what? He let out a loud roar and persevered. My second thought records the cultivation and realization of the 9 realms. You know, cultivating the 9 realms is like a fish in water, with almost no bottleneck to speak of. These memories record ancient cultivation techniques, which are completely different from the current cultivation system. In ancient times, there were 9 realms of cultivation, but today there are only 7 realms of cultivation. With this inheritance, Ning Fan's cultivation does not increase, but his insight is deeper than some old monsters who have been practicing for hundreds of years. In the future, there will be almost no difficult bottlenecks in cultivation. He wiped away the bloodstains from his mouth and nose, his eyes shining brightly, and the pain he endured was worth it, it was worth it. Suddenly caught off guard, the third batch of memories finally arrived. Ning Fan let out a scream and almost fainted. This memory inheritance was like 1,000 cuts, as if it had crushed his soul. His face was pale as paper, and his life was in danger. However, when he glanced at the girl beside him and saw the painful marks on her face, his pain seemed insignificant. No matter how painful the body is, how can it be compared to heartache? He recalled the humiliation he suffered that day, gritted his teeth, and remained unyielding. After the third thought was passed down, he was so painful that he couldn't even lift a finger. My third chant is called yin-yang transformation. This technique is a secret technique of Huanhe, which involves both male and female cultivation to enhance one's cultivation. It is easy to use as a dragon and phoenix protector. In this thought, what is included is the magic that matches the yin-yang lock, followed by countless jubilant spells. In the eyes of a righteous gentleman, this is not worth mentioning, but for Ning Fan, it is the fastest way to improve his cultivation. Zhaozhuiyuan.com. The three thoughts have been passed down, and the remnants of the immortal emperor in the yin-yang lock slowly dissipate, as if they never existed at all. Ning Fan lost all his strength and collapsed on the delicate body of the paper crane, unable to move, carefully sorting out the immortal emperor's inheritance in his mind. With this inheritance, his cultivation level is still a layer of blood. Breaking, but with all his knowledge, even some old monsters who have been practicing for many years cannot match it. His eyes gradually calmed down, and he had such a chance not to let others know. At least, we cannot let Han Laoma know. He cannot guarantee that if Han Laoma finds out about the existence of the yin-yang lock, he will kill him. At this moment, Ning Fan's view of the woman in the lock is no longer mysterious. Are you a broken void female cultivator? However, it seems that you have been injured. If your injury recovers, your cultivation level should be more than that. Perhaps you are a legendary immortal, Ning Fan said lightly. Oh. Did you actually see it? Did you successfully obtain the chaotic ancient inheritance? The woman in the lock sighed slightly. At this moment, Ning Fan gave her a feeling that was no longer like a junior, but rather like an old monster who had lived for hundreds of years. This matter is really strange. The inheritance of the chaotic ancient immortal emperor can be considered as the inheritance of which ring of the heavenly way, and is it so miraculous? Raising the horizon of an ordinary youth to such a high level, is it a legendary the third ring of the heavenly way? Seeking collection and recommendation. Chapter 3 has been completely revised and the writing direction has changed. It's better to write more easily. Additionally, if you are interested in the first ring of the heavenly way, you can refer to the Rebirth of Wukong in Demon Cultivation Record. Can you detoxify me in Chapter 4? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Siphon Palace, the ice palace where Han Laoma lived alone, has always been inaccessible to others, with Ning Fan being the first exception. Pushing the door open, the moonlight falls, Ning Fan stretches lazily. White clothes and cloud boots, long hair tied with jade, covered with a black Taoist robe, black and white distinct, exuding the aura of a virtuous young master. He is still a teenager, but in his eyes, there is an old monster-like wisdom. He closed his eyes and reminisced about the inheritance of the immortal emperor. In the memory of the immortal emperor, there are various scriptures and insights, which are the most orthodox cultivation methods, with only one part. Yin-yang transformation. The legendary immortal emperor. Left by the chaotic ancient emperor. This skill is divided into 10 levels, including yin and yang skills, which require both yin and yang to practice together. With each level of cultivation, one's cultivation will greatly increase. With the divine power of the yin-yang lock, when practicing with women, one can also improve their cultivation level. According to Ning Fan's estimation, if he practices step by step like an ordinary person, it will take at least several decades to break through the spiritual fusion period. However, if he uses yin-yang transformation to socialize with women, in less than half a year, he can at least cultivate to the 9th level of pulse opening. If one cultivates the first layer of the yin-yang transformation technique, their cultivation level will significantly increase. Even if they break through the spiritual fusion period, it may not be impossible. Ning Fan opened his eyes shining brightly. With the yin-yang lock and yin-yang transformation, one day one can become a master of breaking the void and roam freely in the rain world. The cultivation of yin-yang transformation requires both mating with women and consuming flames to supplement yin with yang, achieving the goal of harmony between yin and yang. On the first level, engage with any woman 99 times and devour 9 types of mortal fire. On the second level, she interacted with the female cultivators of the Yuan period 99 times and devoured 999 types of mortal fire. On the third level, she interacts with the broken void woman 99 times and devours 9 types of void fire. After reaching the third level of yin-yang transformation, you can use the yin-yang lock to lock the heaven and earth. The Xian realm. The mysterious woman was trapped in the Xian realm, and Ning Fan, who had reached the third level of cultivation and possessed a broken void cultivation, was able to rescue her. However, within a few hundred years, Ning Fan did not believe that he could cultivate to the level of shattered emptiness and temporarily avoided socializing with shattered emptiness women. He inexplicably smiled and raised his fingertips, which were filled with a wisp of black inflammation accompanied by dragon chants. This flame, condensed from hundreds of ordinary flames, transformed into a dragon body, but was killed and devoured by Ning Fan's lock in the *** sect. This fire is the flame of the old demon. Even though Ning Fan's cultivation is still low, with this fire, even when facing Ling, Ning Fan has a slight self-protection power. This is a trump card that cannot be easily revealed to others. At least devour the flames, there's no need to worry before the second level. The rest is just to interact with women and cultivate the first level of martial arts. Looking back, Ning Fan could still hear the dreamy sound of paper cranes emanating from the door. He hesitated a bit in his heart. If she interacts with the paper crane, she can gradually cultivate the first level of martial arts and her strength will greatly increase, but she is still a child. Ning Fan experienced a great change and witnessed the scene of brutal murder. His heart was as fierce as a demon's head, and he gradually learned that his heart was like an iron stone. But the paper crane, in his despair, walked into his heart and saved him twice. How could he be willing to hurt her? I won't leave this girl behind in this life. At least wait until she grows up a little longer before we talk about this kind of thing. Ning Fan was pondering outside, but the sound of paper cranes waking up came from inside, followed by the faint cries. The paper crane woke up and saved Ning Fan twice. The first time, he gave Jade locks and mantu. The second time, he lost his innocence, but when she woke up, she found herself left alone by Ning Fan, feeling a bit uncomfortable in her heart. Why is it uncomfortable? She doesn't understand. She was caught in the ** sect at the age of 9 and hasn't had any contact with men since then, so she doesn't understand emotions. Now that she is 12 years old, she is Ning Fan ** and has nothing to do with love. She just can't bear to see Ning Fan die. Opening her eyes without seeing Ning Fan, she felt a bit aggrieved. At this moment, Ning Fan should be by her side, but even if he is there, the lost innocence will never come back. I don't understand. The petite body of the paper crane, fair but covered in scars, pushed aside the brocade quilt and got off the bed, but her lower body hurt and she couldn't stand steadily, falling to the ground. Be careful. A thin embrace caught her. She was naked, but the other person had no desire. Wake up. Ning Fan smiled warmly. Ah, big brother, don't look, I'm not wearing any clothes. Jihe was a little flustered, and she found that Ning Fan hugged her, her already weak body becoming even weaker. She didn't understand why, and even didn't understand, that male love and female love are wonderful pleasures. All that was left for her last night was pain and injury, that's all. Well, I'm not looking. Ning Fan closed his eyes and picked up the paper crane, but his fingertips began to grope around it. Ning Fan's gentleness made the paper crane feel a little better, but being touched by Ning Fan like this still made her extremely embarrassed. Big brother, don't. Don't. The paper crane has become so strange. I am treating your injury, unblocking your meridians, promoting blood circulation and removing blood stasis. You can take a nap and walk tomorrow. This massage technique is inherited from the third thought of the Immortal Emperor and is the ultimate technique. Massage for women who have just received rain and dew can activate blood circulation, remove blood stasis, reduce swelling, and relieve pain in their lower body. Ning Fan's technique is extremely mysterious. If the old demon sees it, he may be surprised. With just a stick of incense, the paper crane's face was flushed and she exhaled like a orchid. She felt warm all over her body, and the pain of tearing her lower body gradually subsided. She looked at Ning Fan in a daze and had an illusion. After last night's transformation, Ning Fan became so unfamiliar, but it gave people a feeling of safety. Big brother. You're so kind. Jiha fell asleep comfortably, with a sweet smile. And Ning Fan covered her with a thin blanket, carefully examining the paper crane's face for the first time. The girl's bun is disheveled, with a small oval face that is somewhat delicate and painful. Under the eyelashes, my bright eyes are tightly closed, and my sleep is sweet. If it weren't for you, I would have died twice. I would rather be a lowly person with no way to repay you. I can only give you a promise. With me, I will protect you for a lifetime, and no one in the rain world can harm you. He caressed the sleeping face of the paper crane with his palm, gentle and pitiful. As soon as he finished speaking, a brazen laugh came from outside the room. With backbone, I truly deserve to be my disciple. I really liked that last sentence. My meridians have been disabled, and I will never be able to use the golden elixir. However, my disciple will eventually be able to dominate the Rain realm. What an interesting little guy. Is he rampant in the Rain realm? Ning Fan frowned, and it was undoubtedly Han Laomo laughing outside the door. He doesn't have a good impression or a bad impression of Han Laomo, that's all. He pushed the door open, his gaze like water. This gaze fell into the eyes of the old demon, and he was suddenly startled, as if he was not looking at a young man, but at an old monster that was billions of times stronger than himself, as sharp as a sword. Strange, this little brat, when did his gaze become as sharp as that of the little girl Daoguo? Is it possible that he is also from the sword world? How could it be? It must be my illusion. This sun was clearly picked up by me in the Li Hen mountain. The more the old demon saw Ning Fan, the more satisfied he became. He held his hands horizontally and nodded incessantly, I want to kill you every word. Do you hate me? How dare Ning Fan hate his master? Ning Fan's face was calm and calm. Although he had memories of the Immortal Emperor, his cultivation level was still low and he would not provoke the old demon. And he is also honest, he has very little hatred towards the old demon. Hey, don't hate me either. This is the rule set by my master, the ancestor of the Black Demon sect. The technique I cultivate is called Black Demon Decision, which is an ancient demon technique that can only be practiced by the ancient demon lineage. You are also an ancient demon lineage. When you reach the melting spirit period, I will pass on the technique to you. The old demon chuckled, while Ning Fan frowned. Is this old demon really willing to accept him as a disciple? What are the reasons? Do you accept apprentices based on your mood? Remember, the ancient demon bloodline is extremely rare in the state of you and should not be easily leaked. Don't think that having the ancient demon bloodline can make the world invincible. The world is big. I was young and ignorant back then, relying on the ancient demon bloodline, causing trouble everywhere, being plotted by enemies, and having my cultivation revoked. I also died. In short, it's best not to let others know the secret of your demon bloodline before your cultivation is completed, otherwise you will die, I don't care. On the cold face of the old demon, there was a hint of sadness hidden deep. Ning Fan has the insight of the Immortal Emperor, he can see it. Remember. Women who have been to *** should be protected and not imitate me. That little girl has been poisoned by those little girls from Lihen Mountain. The poison is a bit strong, but it's not a big deal. This is the antidote. When she wakes up and feeds her, I will kill the righteous Taishu sect and be chased by a group of bandits for 3 days. Not to mention that, by the way, I will remind you that 7 Plum Blossom record is very important to me. After reading it, I will return it to me as soon as possible. If you dare to damage a page of paper, I will chop you into meat. Filling. The old demon threw a small jade bottle to Ning Fan, laughed heartily, turned around and left, but his back was slightly desolate. Ning Fan took the jade bottle, pulled out the cork, and smelled the elixir, feeling slightly surprised in his heart. Su Yuan Dan. It's a Su Yuan Dan that can cure all kinds of poisons and injuries in the golden pill. Ning Fan never expected that Han Laoma, who was constantly trying to kill him, would run to the Taishu sect to steal the Su Yuan Dan in order to detoxify the paper crane. The old demon ran for his life for 3 days. The words were spoken lightly, but Ning Fan could understand the danger involved. I'm afraid that after taking this pill, the old demon has been chased by the master of the golden pill for several days. This old demon is ruthless in killing, but to him, he is truly good. Ning Fan would never think that the old demon was like old friends at first sight, there must be a reason behind it. But no matter what, if the old demon shows kindness to him, he naturally wants to repay 1 or 2. Wait, Ning Fan called out to the old demon. What are you doing? I'm going to treat my injury. I'll talk about it tomorrow if I have something to do. The old demon was quite impatient. I know a method that may cure the poison in your meridians, Ning Fan said in a very faint tone. What are you saying? The old demon's eyes flashed with a hint of shock. He only told Ning Fan that his cultivation was ruined. How did Ning Fan know that his cultivation was ruined because of meridian poisoning? He joined the Ghost Bird sect, whose leader was a renowned medical genius in the Yu Kingdom. However, after treating him with poison for decades, he only suppressed the poison and could not detoxify it at all. This poison is like a maggot attached to the bone. Even the Su Yuan Dan, which can neutralize all the toxins of the golden pill, cannot cure it well. It would be better if a child who can open the meridian had any ability to detoxify. The old demon looked at Ning Fan suspiciously, his mind spinning. Ning Fan could tell at a glance that he was poisoned, as if he had some real skills. Maybe Ning Fan really has a way to detoxify him. This is a bit absurd, but if it's true, the old demon's mind was full of twists and turns. He looked at Ning Fan in the same way as before, with no clear signs of deceiving him with empty words. I haven't seen you for 3 days. How did this kid become like an old man, with such a calm demeanor? The old demon was still hesitating, but Ning Fan spoke up again. Juyin is an ancient poison that is harmless to ordinary people and only effective against a small number of ancient demonic veins. The demonic veins of the poisoned are sealed, and from the moment of poisoning, their cultivation falls. When their cultivation is exhausted, they will die. When they are poisoned with this poison, their spirit will be refreshed at first, but their personality will gradually become violent, which cannot be suppressed unless they kill. In the end, the Yin poison will devour the heart, making it difficult for ghosts and gods to save. Ning Fan's tone was calm, but when the old demon heard it, it sounded like thunder. My own poison, the Ghost Sparrow sect leader didn't even know which kind of poison it was, but Ning Fan, a younger generation, could see it at a glance. The old demon doesn't know what kind of poison Juyin is, but the poisoning symptoms mentioned by Ning Fan are all correct. You really can detoxify me. What kind of person are you? The old demon excitedly grabbed Ning Fan's shoulders, his words trembling, and there was also some vigilance among them. I am a Tai Gumo Mai, and it's strange to know some ancient secrets. Although my cultivation is low, before I was captured in the Lihen Mountain, I was a famous doctor who treated many cultivators' illnesses. If you don't believe me, you can search my soul and forget. Ning Fan chuckled lightly. Soul-searching memory destruction is a spell that reads the opponent's memory, but it has a significant side effect and can damage the mind of the person being cast, even turning them into idiots. Ning Fan's words are trying to test whether the old demon is really good or fake towards him. If the old demon really searches his soul and destroys his memory, Ning Fan has a way to make the old demon regret it later. Because he knows one drawback of the Xian poison, which is that on the day when the yin power is at its peak every month, it is difficult for the poison person to mobilize their mana. Today is the day when yin power is at its peak. At this moment, the old magic power only has 8 layers of pulse opening. If the old demon has a murderous heart towards Ning Fan can use black fire to ambush and kill the old demon. Ning Fan doesn't like owing kindness to others, nor does he like being plotted by others. The old demon heard Ning Fan talk about soul-searching memory destruction, his eyes gradually calmed down, and his face sank like iron. He believed Ning Fan's words 3 times, but he didn't believe them 7 times when looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. But let him search for his disciple's soul and forget, he cannot do it. I am a member of the Black Demon sect. According to the rules of the Black Demon sect, if my disciple violates the demonic way, my master can kill him. But if my disciple abides by the demonic way, my master cannot harm my disciple. If I take you as my disciple and you don't listen, I will kill you. But if you don't make a mistake, I will never search your soul or destroy your memory. Even if someone dares to attack you, I will protect you. Because you are my disciple. After the old demon finished speaking, he saw Ning Fan laughing but not speaking. How clever he was. He saw Ning Fan's thoughts at a glance and laughed heartily. Little rabbit, detoxification is really important to me. I want to avenge her. If you really have a way to detoxify me, what conditions do you have? Just let me know. I want to be the young master of Chimay City. Ning Fan smiled faintly, as he had decided to cultivate demons. Let's start repairing from Chimay City. Yes. From today on, Chimay City, you have the final say. 9,752 magical practices are under your command. Pills, magic weapons, cauldron furnaces, immortal jade, whatever you want. The old demon responded with a single response, but in his heart, he was even more satisfied with Ning Fan. Dare to make terms with me, like a demon. Unfortunately, Ning Fan still has some grudges against him. Hey, it seems that it will take a lot of time to get Ning Fan to truly treat him as a master. But this kid is a good cultivator of demons. Half a year later when he joins the sect for assessment, if I bring him, I'm afraid I'll catch the attention of those old guys in the sect. Hee, just thinking about the surprised looks of those old guys makes me happy. But this little brat wants to become the young city lord. What does he want to do? He should be able to control those scumbags, right? Chapter 5. Immortal Emperor Level Killing Chi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The sunshine is warm, and the wind and snow in Chimay Ice City are slightly cold. Ning Fan, dressed in white and black cloaks, leisurely left the Siphon Palace. Behind him, 2 steps later, he followed the tiptoeing paper crane. His hair had changed into a girl's bun, and he was dressed in thick fox fur. His small hands were still red from the cold. Brother Fan. Aren't you cold? Wearing such a single outfit? Paper Crane asked with concern as he rubbed his small hands. Cold, but when you ask, I don't feel cold anymore. It's really strange. Ning Fan turned back and chuckled, blushing inexplicably at Jiha. Taking the opportunity to prepare the antidote, Ning Fan left the Siphon Palace and took the paper crane out for a walk. The two of them had to cultivate their relationship, after all, they already had a husband and wife. Otherwise, when Ning Fanjin and Jiha are practicing together, they will definitely not be able to take action. The young man was handsome, while the young girl was shy. What a great atmosphere, but unfortunately, it was destroyed by the third party, the old demon. The old demon walked confidently in front of the two of them, and all the way, the demon cultivator looked at Ning Fan with the same eyes as at the plague god, hastily avoiding. "Huh, you two should continue to be intimate. Just pretend that I don't exist. Young people, when flowers bloom, they must be folded. When it's time to take action." Hee hee. The old demon was very happy. His previously gloomy face now turned into a smile of chrysanthemums and flowers. Why? Because his immortal veins are expected to be cured. Those demonic cultivators quickly dodged the old demon's laughter. In their impression, the old demon frowned, but in reality, it was happiness. And Lao Mo Xiao is usually going to kill someone. Oh my, is that young man the new disciple of the city lord? It's over, he's definitely dead. He must have angered the city lord. You see how angry the city lord must be when he smiles like this. Everyone sympathized with Ning Fan. The southern part of Chimay City is a market that sells various elixirs, magic treasures, and spiritual equipment, while the northern part is the old demon's treasury and medicine garden. The medicine garden is named Zhuang, built with flames as bricks, forming a four-dimensional structure. The four seasons in the middle are like spring, and the spiritual medicine is full of vitality. The zenith is a formation light curtain, where people cannot enter, but sunlight can shine in. Outside Zhuang, there is a black armored army stationed, consisting of about 400 people, each with 7 blood plum blossoms embroidered on their shoulders. The commander of the black armor army is a 2 zhang tall iron man with spiritual cultivation. He entered the city on the same day to welcome the old demon. Ning Fan has seen this person once. Iron Han suddenly bowed when he saw the old demon approaching, while the 400 black guards all bowed down together. Mei Wei Commander Wei Qi, see the city lord. See. Young lord. To Ning Fan, all 400 Mei Wei were unwilling to kneel and worship. Free of charge, everyone get out of here. Wait a minute, I'm in a good mood today, you don't need to get out. Come here, stand up straight, show me my disciple a look. The old demon laughed heartily. This smile, in the eyes of the 400 plum guards, was like a chill in his vest. He secretly wondered if he had done something wrong and angered the old demon. The 400 plum guards dared not disobey the orders of the old demon, hastily gathered and stood in a circular array. My heart is filled with anxiety and unease. The Lord is laughing. The Lord of the city is actually laughing, laughing so lewdly. The Lord is going to kill. Is it because our Mei Wei guards Zhuang poorly? The circular formation formed by the Zhu Mei guards is called the Two Rights Chaotic Plum Formation. With only a few breaths, everyone has formed an orderly formation, seemingly well trained. This scene appeared in the eyes of the old demon, immediately transforming into a proud expression that he had not shown in 40 years. Ning kid, take a look, this is one of Laozi's 3 guards, Mei Wei. A roamling, with 400 meridians and 5 layers, can be easily dragged out to destroy a mortal country. Kicking a righteous sect is more than enough. Although it is not as strong as Laozi's previous subordinates, it is already very strong in the state of you. Ning kid, give me 2 comments. How is Laozi's Mei Wei? The old demon's chrysanthemum and flower face are showing off. For some reason, he really wants to hear praise from Ning Fan. Wei Qi and the 400 plum guards were all shocked when they heard the old demon's praise. You should know that they have sacrificed their lives and lives for the old demon for 40 years, but have never received any praise. Today is the first time. Their bodies no longer trembled, and their hearts were no longer afraid. They all stood straight and upright. In their view, the old demon must be showing off his subordinates to the newly recruited disciple. The old demon wants face. As subordinates, they need to help the old demon earn face. As for how Ning Fan evaluates them, they don't care at all. Mighty. Strong. Or is it spicy? Fierce? Anyway, it should be all praise. They don't think that Ning Fan, who has just opened up a layer of veins, dares to speak a harsh word in front of 400 experts and old demons. Master asked me to evaluate you, so I'll just say a few simple words. Ning Fan's tone was flat, but his words made old Mo and Mei Wei both look pale. The 400 members of this Mei Wei may be elite in the righteous path, but in the demonic path, they are only considered a ragtag group. As soon as this sentence was spoken, the 400 experts all had a furious expression, wishing to destroy Ning Fan on the spot. Just a junior, how dare you speak wildly? But when the old demon was spoken by Ning Fan, he first became angry, but when he thought that Ning Fan had something to say, he showed a thoughtful expression. Ning, tell me why they are a rabble. I also want to hear. If other experts say that to Mei Wei, the old demon will definitely turn against others because the old demon protects the short. But when Ning Fan said so, the old demon knew that Ning Fan didn't seem like a person who was trying to attract attention from the crowd. There are 3 reasons. Firstly, as demonic cultivators, they lack killing energy. What? Not enough killing energy. Haha. Nonsense. 40 years ago, when I killed someone, you weren't born yet. A group of Mei Wei were making a fuss, and some even drew out their weapons as if they were going to attack Ning Fan. The little paper crane was so scared that it grabbed Ning Fan's sleeve, but the old demon remained silent. Ning Fan closed her eyes and put away all her smiles as she faced the 400 murderous Mei Wei. When someone provokes you, your mood becomes unstable, which is a proof of insufficient killing energy. True demonic cultivation is determined by killing energy, with a heart like an iron stone, and unwavering in the face of corpses, mountains, and seas of blood. You cannot do it. 40 years ago, you may have been considered elite in demonic cultivation, but for the past 40 years, you have been enjoying peace and contentment in Chimei City, losing your demonic heart, killing energy, and demonic power, in vain. Ning Fan's voice was not loud, but upon hearing these words, the demonic cultivators all blushed and slowly withdrew their weapons, speechless. Undeniable, Ning Fan is right, speaking of their inner voice. 40 years ago, Mei Wei followed the old demon and fought against the righteous path of the Yu state under the name of the Black Demon 3 Divine Army, and the demon's name spread far and wide. But 40 years ago, the old demon joined the Ghost Sparrow sect, and Mei Wei followed the old demon back to 7 plum cities, only responsible for guarding the medicine garden, without any further killings. Even if killing occasionally, it's just killing some stolen cats and dogs. Under the leadership of the old demon, their Mei Wei dared to directly attack the top righteous faction of the Yu state. They all want to return to the demon realm, once again proudly cross the southeastern continent of the Rain realm, but unfortunately, they cannot. Because the old demon was injured, retreating and healing, and they hid their killing intent and lost their killing spirit, just to avoid causing trouble for the old demon. Unexpectedly, a young generation with a sharp eye can see their helplessness at a glance. Although he didn't like Ning Fan's insult in his heart, Wei Qi and the 400 plum guards couldn't argue anymore. They know Ning Fan is right, but they still look down on him. What does this kid know? We don't want to kill the enemy ourselves. We're just hiding here and being loyal. The old demon remained silent, slowly closing his eyes with a hint of shame. Ning Fan didn't even look at the debater, just continued speaking. Are you dissatisfied? Perhaps you think that you are just loyal to the Lord and have lost your killing spirit. As long as you return to the battlefield one day, you can restore your killing spirit and become a demon again. You are wrong. Sha Qi is not just a murderous aura, but a determination to destroy the enemy. Like an unsheathed sword, it can still be intimidated. There are demons who grow flowers and fish, study and wander, but the Sha Qi has not weakened. It only hides its sharpness and becomes more profound and introverted. Once used, the Mo wave becomes even stronger. The master asked you to guard the plum blossom, perhaps to help you learn to restrain your sharpness. But you did not understand the master's intention. Gradually, you really only know how to look at the Zhuangzi. If you were to kill the Taishu sect now, would you dare? Ning Fan's words filled the room with silence. What do you think of my murderous aura? My murderous aura and magical power may be countless times stronger than yours, but it's unknown. Ning Fan smiled. Wei Qi and the 400 plum guards both looked up at Ning Fan, shaking their heads in disbelief. They agree with Ning Fan's point of view, but do not believe how strong a bloodthirsty junior can be. Ning Fan is just a younger generation who has unique insights and sharp eyesight. However, he is too young and his cultivation is too weak, and he cannot even kill anyone. Looking for the book Garden www.zhaosuiyuan.com, his understanding of the devil's way is absolutely not deep. How could his killing power be stronger than that of Mei Wei? Don't you believe it? I don't believe it, Wei Qi frowned. Then I'll show you my murderous aura. Ning Fan slowly closed his eyes, recalling in his mind the massacres of the chaotic ancient emperor throughout his life, which were his memories of the massacres. Within the void, countless masters far beyond the shattered void emerged from the air, but were beaten to death by Luanggu's palm. In the star realm, several immortal mansion stars that were countless times larger than the state of you were crushed by a finger of Luanggu. The total number of people killed by the chaotic ancient emperor in his lifetime is probably not enough to make up for a small fraction of his killings in the entire Rain realm. Ning Fan's own murderous aura is indeed not high, but he can borrow a trace of the murderous aura of the chaotic ancient emperor. Even if it's just a trace, its momentum is far beyond the imagination of Wei Qi and others. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes, carrying a lifelong killing intent of chaos. At this moment, a fierce beast-like aura emerged from Ning Fan. Under his gaze, the 400 plum guards all changed their faces, as if they were not staring at Ning Fan, but an immortal existence in the eternal blue sky. Cowardly, lost, helpless, fearful various emotions echoed in their hearts, but no one dared to force Ning Fan to take a glance. This is the killing spirit of the young master. How many people have he killed? Yuchi, this master of spiritual fusion, is no matter how difficult it is to remain calm. Under this murderous aura, he felt as humble as an ant. Chapter 6. Jade Emperor Grass, used to feed pigs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Having regained his murderous aura, Ning Fan smiled as usual, but Wei Qi and the 400 plum guards were all shocked and dared not underestimate Ning Fan anymore. The old demon's eyes shone strangely, looking at Ning Fan in disbelief. Wei Qi, commander of Mei Wei, one of his subordinates under the three-roam spirit, has the heaviest arrogance on weekdays, and has been silenced by Ning Fan in a few words. And the murderous aura just now that Ning Fan was startled by a swan is simply shocking. Sha Qi is only power and cannot harm others, but Ning Fan with this Sha Qi will not be afraid even when facing a master of shattered emptiness. He can kill and calm his mind, his heart is like iron stone. This stinky kid, could he possibly have been a killer demon in his previous life? Perhaps he was a cheater. The old monster looked at Ning Fan in a strange way, guessing. There are three main reasons why Ning Fan said that Mei Wei is a mob. The old demon suddenly wanted to know what other flaws Mei Wei had besides insufficient killing energy. Secondly, there are errors in your cultivation techniques, which have caused you to get stuck in a bottleneck and unable to improve your cultivation. You said there's a problem with our martial arts. Nonsense. We are practicing, but it's the ice flame decision passed down by the city lord. Upon hearing Ning Fan's words, Mei Wei panted heavily, his face flushed, and his eyes remained calm. The martial arts bestowed by the Lord cannot be wrong. They didn't believe it, but the old demon believed it. The old demon pondered silently for a long time, then said indifferently, perhaps there are flaws in the ice flame judgment. This technique was gifted by a stranger old man back then. At first, this technique was extremely fast in opening up meridians, but when it opened up 20.5 meridians and advanced to the 5th level, it would be difficult to open up the next one. Most people in the Mei Wei are stuck in the 5th level of opening up meridians and cannot break through the next realm. Upon hearing that the old demon had confirmed Ning Fan's statement, Mei Weiqi was speechless. Isn't it true that we have been practicing martial arts for over 40 years, but there is something wrong with it? But when you think about it, more than half of the 400 people are stuck on the 5th level of the pulse opening. It seems like something is really wrong. Perhaps I have a way to overcome the shortcomings of this technique, so that you can break through the 6 layers of meridian creation, and even one day become a master of spiritual fusion. Ning Fan smiled faintly, which excited the emotions of the Mei Wei group. Young master. What are you saying? You can overcome the flaws of ice flame determination. You can take us to a higher level of cultivation. The sound of Xiaozhu, the 400 plum guards shouting unprecedentedly neat and heartfelt. Ning, if you have a way to overcome the flaws in ice flame determination, I will give you Mei Wei as your commander. The old demon's face twitched with a hint of pleading. For the first time. Old demon, such a ruthless person, would beg people. They are subordinates of the master, so I naturally want to do my best. I have heard of the ice flame determination technique, which imitates the yin-yang Dao by using ice to simulate yin and inflammation to simulate yang. At first, they entered the realm very quickly, but later they were often trapped by bottlenecks due to the imbalance of yin and yang. Later, when I enter the Plum Blossom village, I will prescribe a medicine for you to take and refine pills every 3 days. After 1 month, you will be able to break through the 6 layers of the meridian. Hiss. 400 plum blossoms and guards all gathered to suck in the air conditioning. In 1 month, not only can one overcome their shortcomings in martial arts, but also break through their realm. You should know that even if there are no flaws in the martial arts, it takes at least several years for ordinary people to cultivate from the 5th level to the 6th level of the meridian. The young master is not joking, is he? In a month's time, if I can help you break through the 6th layer of the pulse, it's not too late for you to submit to me again. After all, I'm not sure about it either. Please do your best, young master. With a swoop, the 400 plum guards all bowed down. This is natural. Ning Fan cast a deep glance at the old demon, who was quite cunning. Throwing Mei Wei to my own command, is it because I'm afraid I won't treat Mei Wei with care? However, with Mei Wei, I have my own power. It won't be long before I can go and rescue my younger brother. Ning Gu. Mei Wei's 3rd shortcoming, what is it? Ning, come on, talk about it. I really want to hear it. The old demon's face smiled again, like a chrysanthemum or a flower. Thirdly. As I said, you must not be angry. I'm not angry. If you say everything correctly, I won't have time to be happy. Thirdly, the formation practiced by Mei Wei has a major flaw. What are you saying? Dare you talk nonsense again? Believe it or not, I'll tear you apart alive. The old demon was furious. For the first time in 40 years, he was really angry. Young lord, quickly apologize to the city lord. The immortal formation we are practicing with the Mei Wei is called the 2-Il-1 Mei formation, which was created by the Main Mother. The Main Mother is from the Sword Realm. In short, the Main Mother cannot be wrong. Commander of Mei Wei, Wei Qi, looked anxious and reminded Ning Fandao. Was it created by the Lord Mother? I see. Master, please don't be angry. I'm not talking nonsense about the flaws in this formation. Commander Wei Qi, 40 years ago, your Mei Wei used this formation to kill enemies, and they often couldn't defeat them. However, they were more than enough to protect themselves. Even if you faced a master of the golden elixir, you could resist 1 or 2. Is this possible? That's true. Because the Liangyi Chao Mei formation is a top-level defense formation. Wrong. This formation belongs to the 2E formation. The characteristic of the 2E formation is to die once in a lifetime. The life formation has unparalleled defense. The death formation kills like a cloud. The person who created this formation deliberately modified the death formation, leaving only the life formation. Therefore, this formation is not strong in killing enemies, but its defense is strong. The main mother is mostly unwilling to be a master and has committed too many murders. Therefore, this formation has flaws, which make the attack of the Mei Wei much weaker. After Ning Fanyu finished speaking, the old demon remained silent for a long time. He closed his eyes and his voice was somewhat weathered. You're right, Xiaomei, she doesn't like me killing people. She has always disliked. This sentence, Lao Mo, does not call himself lousy. From today on, Mei Wei will be under your control, and you don't need to wait for a month. Ning, I believe I can cure them. How they cultivate, I'll leave it to you for guidance. You can take any spiritual medicine you need. How to sharpen their killing energy is up to you. Also, if you don't think their chaotic plum formation attacks are strong, then let's make some changes. Wei Qi, take Ning to the Plum Blossom Manor to get medicine. I need to go to a place. The old demon waved his sleeve, turned into a black rainbow, and left towards a forbidden area in Chimei City. Hey, the city lord has deep affection and deep affection. We admire him because of this reason. Wei Qi sighed, leaving Ning Fan quite speechless. The old demon, who has no intention of killing, will also show great affection. Although it does have a bit more human touch than other cultivators. Young master, I will take you into the Plum Blossom village to collect the medicine. Wei Qi dispersed Mei Wei, his eyes respectful. From this moment on, his Mei Wei returned to Ning Fan's command. Ning Fan, he couldn't see through, but today he understands Ning Fan's extraordinary qualities. Legend has it that there is a kind of person in heaven and earth, known as the heavenly cheater, who is a reincarnation of an ancient immortal god with exceptional intelligence. Young master, it must be that kind of person. Following young master, I, Mei Wei, finally have a day to shine. Ice guard and sword guard, I dare not underestimate Mei Wei in the future. Yuqi's heart was filled with beautiful aspirations. Ling Fan stepped through the flame gate and entered Meizhuang. Meizhuang, built with flames as bricks. The paper crane looked at the burning gate of Meizhuang, a little scared, with its little fingers intertwined and afraid to enter. And with one hand, he grabbed her evading palm and pulled her into the fire door. That flame, as if it had spirituality, dared not burn any paper cranes. That hand, not generous, but warm. Let's go, I'll find some spiritual medicine, refine it into a pill, and open your meridians for you to practice as well. In the future, my little paper crane may be able to cultivate into a peerless female demon. People are afraid of others, that's great. Ning Fan smiled. No, I don't want to be a witch, is it okay to be a fairy? Jiha shook his head desperately. Okay, why not? On that day, I'll say you're a fairy. In the Rain Realm, who wouldn't open their eyes? Dare to say you're a demon. Conquering Mei Wei today is highly valued by the old demon. Tomorrow, Prince Ning's demonic name will surely sweep across the Rain world. Standing in the sky, under the sky, who dares to offend? The young master is absolutely right. Young master's mother, it's really your blessing to be with the young master. Wei Qi flattered the horse's lap. Who? Who said I'm the mistress? Jiha's face blushed with embarrassment, but he couldn't shake Ning Fan's hand. Young master, you see, there are 4,000 types of spiritual medicines in Meizhuang, each with hundreds of years of age. What do you need and what can be used by Mei Wei? If you don't know, just tell me the name of the medicine and I'll help you pick it up. Centennial Sang Grass, Centennial Magnolia Ice, Centennial Snow Ginseng, Centennial Luo Snake Vine. Well, there are all medicines for detoxifying master, but it seems that there is a difference. There are also medicines for treating Mei Wei's injuries, which seem to be too different. There are quite a few spiritual medicines for clearing the veins of little paper crane. Humph, this is. Ning Fan's gaze swept over the elixir of a manner, but it landed on a pile of hay in the corner, shocking him for a long time. What medicine is this? He hesitated and asked Wei Qi. Oh, it's just some weeds that lack spirituality and are used for feeding pigs, Wei Qi replied casually. Feed the pig. You feed the pig with jade. Yeah, this grass is not chewy enough, even pigs don't eat it. Wei Qi patted his waist and collected the demon bag, summoning a purple little pig as big as a palm to show Ning Fan. Young master, this is my subordinate's demon pet. Tianhe pig. Although he may not look impressive, even if he is a master of 4 layers of blood-breaking skills, he can still die in one arch. Hey, I feed him grass every day, and it seems a bit malnourished. Ning Fan remained silent for a long time, looking at Yu Qi with complexity. Yu Qi, it's yours. From today on, it's not allowed to feed pigs with this grass. All this grass will be delivered to my mansion. Ning Fan couldn't imagine that the Jade Emperor grass, which was famous in the memory of the immortal emperor in the book garden www.zhaozhuyuan.com, was actually used by Yu Qi to feed pigs. This grass may seem devoid of spirituality, but this is precisely what sets it apart. Imagine how ordinary weeds can grow in an icy city. Yuhuang grass, known as the immortal emperor, difficult to obtain, has no medicinal effect when eaten dry. However, if mixed with one substance, it can be refined into the anti-heavenly god pill. Yuhuang pill. This pill can cleanse the meridians and marrow, improve physical fitness, enhance cultivation, and ultimately cultivate into a super immortal body. In the memory of the chaotic ancient emperor, during the ancient times, only 2 people had cultivated the super immortal body, and each person was an unparalleled hero. The former lord of the heavenly court, Jade Emperor, and Wei Sheng. Wei Tuo. Cultivate one's character and surpass the immortal body, why not enter the 5 levels without a plan? This poem is said to be the legendary sage Wei Tuo, the strongest under Emperor Sunday. The Jade Emperor grass, which is claimed to be hard to find by the immortal emperor, was unexpectedly taken by Yu Qi and fed to pigs. Ning Fan looked coldly at Yu Qi. With such a waste, he might be punished by heaven and turn into a pig in his afterlife. Being stared at by Ning Fan, Yu Qi hastily averted his gaze, puzzled. Isn't it just a pile of broken grass, isn't it just feeding a pig? As for waiting for me like this. Young master, do you love to eat grass? Love to eat grass that even pigs don't eat. Wei Qi looked at Ning Fan and indeed saw him squatting down, chewing the dirty hay in his mouth. He immediately admired him greatly. He truly deserves to be the young master. He can eat things that even pigs don't eat. No wonder he's so smart. Seeking collection, seeking recommendation. Chapter 7. Daoguo, Xian Yun, Ling Zhuang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meizhuang Lingyao, Ning Fan ordered a large cart and ordered someone to deliver it back to Sifan Palace. Of course, the Jade Emperor grass was also sent back. Yuhuang grass, only 1 bundle left, the rest has been fed to pigs by Yu Qi. Ning Fan was speechless towards Wei Qi. The old demon's antidote is missing a 1,000-year-old peach branch, the antidote in Ice Flame Decision is missing 100 years of ice thunder stones and fire rain flowers. Young lord, there isn't enough antidote, why don't we go to Nanchangfang City to get it? On weekdays, the city lord refines pills and goes directly to get what's missing without paying. Wei Qi seemed to say something insignificant. Fengshe. A place for buying and selling, no need to pay. Except for the Xianxia pavilion, money must be given. Wei Qi reminded. Xianxia pavilion. Ning Fan raised his eyebrows. The name was somewhat familiar, as if it had appeared once in the mixed memories of the immortal emperor. Well, the Xianxia pavilion sells Daoguo, Ding Lu, magic treasures, Ling Zhuang, and Xian. In short, as long as you can afford Xianyu, you can buy anything. Its power is spread throughout the 9 realms, and even the broken Su old monster dare not provoke it. It seems to be a power above the 4 heavens. In our 7 plum city, there is also the Xianxia pavilion, and all the things that the golden Dan old monster needs can be bought here. Wait. Daoguo, Xian. That's not an ancient immortal item, can you buy it? Also, what is a spiritual costume? Ning Fan was surprised. Daoguo, Xian, in the memory of the immortal emperor, only immortals can use it, at least the broken void old monster cannot afford it. And spiritual attire, this kind of thing, even in the memory of the immortal emperor, has not been mentioned. Most likely, it is a product of the cultivation world in later generations. Ning Fan sighed, times are changing, and the memory of the immortal emperor is not omnipotent. He, young master misunderstood. The names of Daoguo and Xian are like this, but they are completely different from ancient times. Upon hearing Ning Fan's question, Wei Qi calmed down. Immortal Cloud, the golden core cultivator can fly in the clouds. Our Rain Immortal Realm is rich in immortal clouds. The speed of immortal clouds is faster than that of monster mounts and imperial swords flying. Daoguo. This is our exclusive cultivation skill. Some rare magic skills can be used to cultivate the deceased's lifelong cultivation, refine them into fruits, and people can tame them, which can skyrocket their cultivation. Daoguo is extremely difficult to produce, often killing 100 old monsters of the golden elixir to obtain 1 Daoguo. And the price is also sky high. The price of 1 Daoguo cannot be bought even if we sell it in Chimay City. Ning Fan shook his head after hearing the introduction of Daoguo Xian. Sure enough, these 2 things are completely different from the memory of the immortal emperor, and their effects are also completely different. Where's the spiritual costume? Young master, you should know that our cultivators use magic weapons in their martial arts. Magic weapons can be attacked, defended, and constantly changing, while spiritual equipment is a different kind of magic weapon. Young master, please see, my ring is a kind of fire-moving spiritual equipment. However, although I have broken through the fusion spiritual period, there is not enough fire spirit in the immortal veins to recognize this spiritual equipment. Wei Qi took out a red jade ring from the storage bag and handed it to Ning Fan. Before he could finish speaking, Ning Fan had already put the trigger finger on his hand. In an instant, Wei Qi's face changed greatly and he secretly called out that it was not good. Be careful, young master. Ling Zhuang recognizes the master, but only the 2nd realm spirit fusion master can achieve it. The process of recognizing the master is extremely dangerous, not as simple as dripping blood to recognize the master, but rather requires the imprint of the 5 element spiritual power on the spiritual equipment. During the period of spiritual fusion, cultivators who open their meridians will use spiritual attire to identify their masters. It is highly likely that they will die, and the rest will inevitably have their meridians broken. Even if you are a master of spiritual fusion, if you fail to recognize your master's spiritual attire, you will also suffer a lot of backlash. Wei Qi saw that Ning Fan had put on the trigger finger and was now completely disorganized. Not good, the cultivation level of the young master is still low. Recognizing the master will make you powerful. But Ning Fan put on the trigger, his expression slightly moved, but he was unharmed. I only felt an invisible flame emerge, floating from the trigger to my fingertips, and in an instant, I was about to burn myself to ashes. Does Ling Zhuang recognize the master? It's interesting. Ning Fan showed a playful smile, and the black dragon's flame rose from his fingertips. The invisible firepower he pulled was instantly devoured by the black flame. And black flame wrapped his finger around the trigger, slowly branding a dragon mark, and then returned to Ning Fan's body, disappearing without a trace. Ning Fan's cultivation has not yet reached the level of spiritual fusion, but this black fire has been fused by the old demon with 100 types of mortal fire, and the fire spirit is sufficient. In the next moment, Ning Fan faintly felt that he was connected to the heart and mind of the trigger, while the black fire in the dantian jumped even more violently. With a thought, black flames rose up again from the fingertips, and the power of the fire was at least twice as strong as before. This is the black demon flame of the Lord. Isn't this the Lord's property? This fire is, but the earth vein demon fire. The young master has opened up one layer of veins, how can he control it? Is his true cultivation level Ling? No, it's impossible. Even Ling should not control this fire, but the Lord is Ling and has achieved it. Yes, it must be like this. The young master must be Ling, otherwise why could he recognize the master's spiritual costume? The spiritual costume has been recognized by only Ling masters from ancient times to the present. In an instant, Wei Qi's mind was full of twists and turns, and there were no fools in the cultivation of demons. He almost immediately believed that the minor cultivation was necessary for spiritual integration. Ning Fan turned a blind eye to Wei Qi's complex expression. He put down the black flame, stroked the trigger, and praised, "What a spiritual costume. The younger generation has created such a mysterious treasure." His aged tone was as if he were the chaotic ancient emperor himself. Spiritual equipment is not a magic weapon, it does not require magic to activate and passively enhances the power of spells. Of course, some spiritual costumes also have other mysterious effects. This red jade ring has the effect of increasing the power of fire spells. With this spiritual outfit, Ning Fan can launch a surprise attack with black fire, even if he is a master of spiritual fusion, he can still be injured. The art of flying includes monster beasts, immortal swords, immortal clouds, and even the ability to step on the sky. There are pills and Taoist fruits to improve cultivation. There are magic weapons and spiritual equipment for protecting oneself in combat. This is a wonderful world that is unfamiliar to immortals and emperors. Wei Qi, give me a finger. Ning Fan pointed out and cremated the black dragon. Outside the plum blossom village, the cold dissipated and turned into fierceness. Black magic flame. Don't be careless. Yuchi patted the storage bag and offered a fiery red flying sword, slashing towards the black fire and unleashing a fiery red spiritual light in the air. What? The commander is fighting against the young master. Look, Commander Wei Qi has even used the red sun sword, it's a mid-range spiritual treasure. Young master, you only have one layer of pulse, how can you take this sword? But the questioning voice was not yet finished, and the next moment, everyone's face changed greatly. The flames of the sword shot wildly, shining brightly in the midst of the sky. With a loud roar, the flying sword shot backwards and returned, while the black dragon's momentum did not diminish. It rolled up a black fire wind and burned towards Yuchi's chest, surpassing Ning Fan's small victory. Yuchi's gaze was startled, and without hesitation, he took out the golden immortal talisman and patted it on his chest, muttering words in his mouth. Diamond talisman, illness. In front of it, a pale golden light curtain formed. In the next moment, the black fire ignited the golden curtain, but after burning away the general golden light, it slowly dissipated. Blocked. Wei Qi's vest was sweating profusely. If the diamond charm couldn't block the black fire, he would definitely be injured. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, a wisp of black inflammation suddenly rose from his chest, and half of the golden talisman burned down before stopping. This was bought for 10 pieces of fairy jade. The Iron Tower man, who was 2 zhang tall in the Wei Qi hall, smiled bitterly and looked at Ning Fan, feeling even more unable to see through. Young master, are you really a master of spiritual fusion? Otherwise, why hurt me with one finger? Ning Fan ignored Wei Qi's complex expression, only feeling dizzy and almost unconscious, with even weaker limbs. Opening one layer of pulse and having low mana, he used this finger too reluctantly. As he gritted his teeth and stabilized his figure, his eyes were also slightly surprised. Without wearing a trigger finger, black fire can damage the cultivation of pulse opening. Wearing a trigger finger, even if it is a fusion spirit, it can still be injured. This finger, limited by the realm magic, cannot be used against enemies at present, but it is already enough to excite Ning Fan. Ling Zhuang is indeed a good thing. Brother Fan, why have you become so powerful? Jihua opened his big eyes and flickered. Even the evil aunt of the Hehuan sect is not so powerful. Tonight, I'll tell you from zhaozuiyuan.com. Ning Fan stroked Jihua's cheek and smiled inexplicably, but Jihua was shy and avoided. At night, why did you only tell me at night? Paper cranes have wild thoughts, but their hearts are jumping faster and faster. Wei Qi, I'll leave the matter of buying medicine in Fengshe to you. 1,000-year-old peach branch, 100-year-old ice thunderstone, and fire rain flower, don't forget. I'm not feeling well, go back to the palace to rest. After speaking, he picked up the paper crane and turned back, but after taking a few steps, he suddenly remembered something and turned back. By the way, please help me keep an eye out. I want a type of black grass that is non-spiritual and has a spicy and slightly bitter taste. It looks a bit similar to the previous dry grass. There are two main medicines of Yuhuang Dan. Yuhuang grass has been obtained, and there is only one left, called Pan-Mo grass. Although Ning Fan did not expect Yu Qi to find it, he still mentioned it. Black grass. Similar to the grass used to feed pigs. I've seen it before. Situ's family seems to have raised some. Last year, I went to pull out some to feed pigs, but it caused Tianhe pigs to diarrhea for half a month. I don't know if there's still any left. Young master, rest assured, I will complete the task. Wei Qi vaguely guessed that Ning Fan was a master of spiritual fusion, and his words were even more respectful. But his unintentional words made Ning Fan pout and suddenly look back at Yu Qi with complexity. Pan-Mo Chow there are also, but Ning Fan couldn't be happy. Jade Emperor grass, you feed the pigs. Pan-Mo grass, you also feed the pigs. If you were born in ancient times and wasted a lot of money, you would be punished by heaven. In the next life, let's just let you be a pig. Seeking collection, seeking recommendation. Chapter 8. Chasing the Rat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chimay City, Situ Mansion. Third brother, what are you talking about? The Lord will give you Mei to command Ning Fan. A thin man named Situ in the Situ Mansion frowned. He has black hair and demon pupils, but wears a black Buddha robe and holds black prayer beads. He wants black grass. Are you still asking me for it? What a big frame, let him get it by himself. Second brother, this. Wei Qi showed a puzzled expression. But with a flick of his sleeve, the thin man drove Wei Qi out. Chimay City, Nangong Prefecture. Sir, this is the news that the villain inquired about. A woman in tight-fitting clothes knelt down in the palace of Nangong Mansion. Sigh. Ning Fan, I can't see through the mystery behind obtaining poisonous medicinal herbs for my lord. 7 types of extremely toxic medicines and 7 types of extremely young tonifying medicines have completely opposite effects. Can you really make poison for my lord by refining pills like this? Lu Lan, you did a good job, let's go on. The man named Nangong is a middle-aged man with a soft voice. Looking at the portrait of Ning Fan in his hand, he licked his lips. Will this person be sent by the Sword World to harm their master? Chimay City, Xianxia Pavilion. Checked it out. Who exactly is the person who came to buy the 1,000-year peach branch today? In the Xianxia Pavilion, there was a fairy with a face like 20, covered in black gauze, wearing a black bra on top and a black skirt on the bottom. The skirt was a bit short, revealing fair jade legs. As expected by the owner, the one who bought the 1,000-year peach branch was not the three gods commander of Han Yuanji. With the alchemy level of Nangong and Han Yuanji, they could not use medicinal materials from 1,000 years ago. The one who bought this medicinal material was actually a young man who had opened up a layer of veins, and it was the disciple of Han Yuanji who had just received it. Oh! Create a layer of pulse. She held a portrait of Ning Fan and became slightly interested. What else did he buy? Report to the master that he also bought a 100-year-old ice thunder stone and fire rain flower. The Millennium Elixir is used to refine the 4 transformations immortal pill. The poison in Han Yuanji requires this substance. Ice thunder stone and fire rain flower, both of which have incompatible medicinal properties, must not be used as medicine. However, it is said that in ancient times, there was a method to make medicine with incompatible properties into a pill. These 2 medicines were intended for Han Yuanji's Mei Wei. Not simple. This charming which seems to have no cultivation, but by listening to 1 or 2 of the medicinal names, she guessed Ning Fan's motives for buying medicine. His profound knowledge is no weaker than Ning Fan's memory of the immortal emperor. Outside the 7-plum snow city, a young man in a black robe slapped his demon bag, released a group of mice, gritted his teeth, humph. The Ding furnace that I raised in the Huanhe sect was actually taken away. Well, Han Laoma should not offend me. He secretly snatched back the Ding furnace. As long as the little girl is not broken, no one can tell her physique. All of this is unknown to Ning Fan. When he returned to the Siphon Palace, he brought a large number of spiritual medicines to the palace's medicine refining pavilion. Lao Imo is known as Han Yaozuan and is also considered a famous alchemist in the state of Yu. The medicinal cauldron used for alchemy in the Siphon Palace is of excellent quality. In the alchemy pavilion, there is also a pulse of ice and earth fire used for alchemy. Now that Yuchi has not yet brought the purchased medicinal herbs, the antidotes of Lao Imo and Mei Wei cannot be refined. Ning Fan has decided to first refine some pulse-opening pills for Xiaoxia. After all, the higher the cultivation level of the paper crane, the better the dual cultivation effect. Ning Fan gradually accepted the dual cultivation technique of yin-yang transformation and longed to try the effect. The Pai Mai Dan is a 2-transformation immortal pill, which many alchemists of Rome Ling can refine. And with the alchemy memory of the immortal emperor, the mere conversion to the immortal pill is not a problem for Ning Fan. There is earth-fire alchemy, which consumes almost no mana from alchemists, but Ning Fan has just opened up a layer of mana and is still worried that he may not be able to consume it. The Yellow Court Dan Dao Lu. The 9 transformations of the river chariot make one immortal, without the need for poor scriptures and meditation. A yellow court world, half a pot of plain wine conceals mountains and rivers. The alchemy technique of the chaotic ancient emperor lies in the 9 transformations of the river chariot. Close your eyes and reminisce about the chaotic ancient alchemy memories. Ning Fan picked up the black inflammation with his fingertips and savored the exquisite alchemy technique of river car 9 turns. In ancient times, there were 2 great alchemists in heaven and earth, one was Tai Shang Lao Jun and the other was Huang Di. They had 2 great alchemy skills. One was Sanqing Dan Ning, and the other was He Che Jiu Zhuang. He murmured to himself, his fingertips kept ticking in front of him with black inflammation. By drawing a circle, one can refine a pill. He closed his eyes, pondered hard, and after a long time, he drew a circle, which burned without a trace. He savored repeatedly, and after a stick of incense, he was able to hook 2 circles in a row, with the burning shadows faintly condensing and not dispersing. Half an hour later, he hooked 3 circles in a row, and a moment later, he hooked the Dao circle shadow in front of him. At the next moment, he suddenly gasped for breath and hurriedly opened his eyes, lost in thought. The 5th round cannot be outlined, perhaps because Ning Fan's realm is too low. But if he can hook up to 4 circles, he is enough to refine the 4 transformations immortal pill. With his alchemy alone, the Yu Kingdom is probably incomparable. Open the furnace, refine the pill. He slapped the lid of the cauldron, threw in the medicinal herbs, and used his meager magic to stir up the ice-burning earth fire, beginning a long process of alchemy. 1 hour later, out of 10 medicinal herbs, 7 were destroyed and only 3 rounds of pills were produced, each containing 10 pills. His face had turned pale, his newly restored mana had been exhausted, and his mind was even more exhausted. The destruction of the 7 medicinal herbs is not due to Ning Fan's lack of skill, but simply because his magical power is insufficient. At the moment of becoming a pill, he cannot suppress his firepower, which often leads to failure. There have been so many failures in the second round of elixirs. Mei Wei's third round of elixirs and Lao Mo's fourth round of elixirs may not be able to refine them at all, unless you first increase your mana. 30 pulse opening pills were packed in a jade bottle, and Ning Fan hurriedly returned to his bedroom. Outside the room, he suddenly stopped because inside, the sound of water could be faintly heard. Little girl, taking a shower, humming a tune, seems to be in a good mood. Should I enter or not? If the paper crane were bigger, I would rather wash it with her. Ning Fan held the medicine bottle, turned around, touched his nose, but shook his head and smiled. He doesn't care about ethics or morals, he just doesn't want to leave a shadow on the little girl. He looked at the rising moonlight and for a moment, he felt a bit homesick. Wu State, Haining Ning family, is thousands of miles away from here. Brother Ninggu, trapped in Tianli demon sect, one day he kicked the demon sect and saved his younger brother. Heaven is my wife, earth is my concubine. He, I never thought that one day I would become a demon cultivator. He is a young man, but carries the sadness of an immortal emperor seeing through the world. Under the moon, he floated like a fairy. And his words caused a cold groan from a woman outside the wall. Humph, heaven is my wife, earth is my concubine, the disciple of Han Yuanji, with such a loud tone. This female voice is not delicate, with a cool and heroic aura. Her voice is like a sword, piercing Ning Fan's eardrums slightly. Then came the sound of the woman's footsteps departing. Ning Fan frowned. Siphon Palace is an old demon forbidden palace, and ordinary people cannot enter at all. The old demon never touches women. What woman actually entered the Siphon Palace and called the old demon's name directly? He wanted to chase out of the courtyard and investigate, but before taking a few steps, a paper crane suddenly screamed from his bedroom. Ah! Help! His face changed greatly, and he didn't pay attention to the strange woman before. He hurriedly pushed the door into the bedroom. In the room, there are wooden pots and plum blossoms floating in the water. Previously, the paper crane was bathing, but now it jumps out of the wooden basin and stands on the couch, looking at the ground in fear. Old mouse. Brother Fan, save me. Her lolly-like flower face, delicate and pitiful, full of fear, made Ning Fan unable to laugh or cry. At least Jihe stayed in the demon sect for 3 years. Although he had no cultivation, he had finally met a cultivator and was afraid of just mice. But when he thought about it, he suddenly felt something was wrong. The Siphon Palace is built in the 7 Plum Ice City, a place for cultivating demons. How can ordinary mice survive? He stared at the underground mouse with a cold gaze. This mouse with white skin and purple pupils is not an ordinary mouse, but a tracking mouse. In the memory of the chaotic ancient emperor, many low-level cultivators love to use this type of mouse to track people. The paper crane has no cultivation and no one will follow it. So the person who released this mouse must be trying to track their own path. Old Emo wouldn't be so bored. With a sweep of his mind, the entire 7 Plum City could be perceived clearly. Those who know how to use this mouse are mostly cultivators with low cultivation and lack of spiritual cultivation. Or rather, they are spiritual cultivators who have divine thoughts but dare not spread them without authorization. Someone wants to deal with me. Looking for death. Ning Fan sneered and pointed out, a strand of black inflammation shot at the mouse's body, burning it to death. He walked to the edge of the bed, but the paper crane burst into tears and jumped into his arms. "Brother Fan, I'm so scared. That year, my brother's body was eaten up by a large group of mice with purple eyes." She was trembling in Ning Fan's arms. "She is not afraid of mice, just afraid of those memories." Ning Fan frowned, as if he had heard some doubts from the words of the paper crane. Chasing mice do not eat human flesh, nor do they live in groups. How could the brother of the paper crane be bitten to death by a group of chasing mice? A group of chasing mice appeared at the same time, mostly raised by cultivators. Chasing mice are expensive, and most spiritual cultivators cannot afford to raise a group. Why would there be a cultivator commanding a group of chasing mice to bite the body of the paper crane brother? Or, the one who released the tracking mouse was not to deal with Ning Fan, but to deal with the paper crane. But is it possible for a paper crane to be targeted as a mortal? Ning Fan couldn't figure it out. The memory of the immortal emperor is not omnipotent. Looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, if his cultivation reaches the stage of spiritual fusion, he can use divination to determine who will deal with him. Currently, it seems that he cannot do so. "Ah! Brother Fan, when did you come in? You, let go of me, holding me like this makes me so strange." Just a casual hug, the little face of the paper crane surprisingly showed an abnormal blush. In her eyes, there was a charm that did not belong to the roamling demon. The charm made Ning Fan suddenly lose his mind. After his eyes regained clarity, he suddenly understood something and was greatly surprised. Paper cranes are actually naturally beautiful bones. Someone has taken a liking to paper cranes and wants to turn them into a cauldron furnace. Born with a charming bone and practicing the dual cultivation technique for thousands of miles in a day, she is the dream concubine of many masters. A woman born with a seductive bone is difficult to detect if she holds onto it like a jade, but once she breaks her body, her seductive bone will gradually appear. One day she is unhappy, and the other day she is restless. 10 days without joy, powerless like cotton. 100 days without joy will surely lead to death. Is this the reason why paper cranes were caught in the Huanhe sect? He was startled and unconsciously exerted force on his arms, hugging the paper crane even tighter. The paper crane's eyes are blurred, and its physical condition is affected. Almost lost in consciousness. "Brother Fan. I feel so uncomfortable. Help me," Jihe said in confusion. Ning Fan's eyebrows furrowed as the paper crane's constitution erupted. There was only one way to help her. He let out a deep sigh and gently pushed down the paper crane. He had originally planned to wait for the crane to grow up, but it seemed that he couldn't wait anymore. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Ning Fan sighed inside the red tent of Spring Shao. Chapter 9. The old demon messes up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A fragrant blanket and warm pillow kept me awake all night. As the morning approached, the paper crane wearily fell asleep, with a peaceful little face. But Ning Fan, on the other hand, was still unsatisfied and couldn't bear to wake up the paper crane. He stroked the small face of the paper crane and covered it with a blanket. Ning Fan draped his clothes and gently pushed the door out, standing in the snow courtyard. Having a happy night with the paper crane, Ning Fan used the wonderful technique of Huan to release the yin energy of the paper crane and relieve the danger of seductive bones. At the same time, he opened up 2 magical veins in his body overnight. Just one more pulse is needed to advance to the second level of the pulse. The natural charm of paper cranes seems to make the effect of yin-yang transformation stand out. After a night of joy, the paper crane unexpectedly opened 2 veins and became a cultivator with 1 layer of veins, which surprised Ning Fan greatly. The ordinary acacia cultivation method, either using yin to replenish yang or using yang to replenish yin, both deprive people of essence and energy, harming others and benefiting oneself. However, yin-yang transformation can simultaneously enhance the cultivation of both men and women. Well, it's simply a good thing that benefits humanity. He looked at the jade vase in his hand, which contained 30 pulse-piercing pills, and hesitated for a moment. This was originally a pill refined for the paper crane, but since the paper crane has a natural affinity for bones, taking the pulse-clearing pill is obviously not as effective as double cultivation. Paper cranes are not ancient magic veins. If you take elixirs, it will take at least 1 month to open a vein. But if you practice both, you can create 2 meridians in 1 day. This pill seems to have been refined for nothing. Ning Fan sat cross-legged on the snow, casually taking a pill and quickly refining its power. The Pai Mai Dan, 1 pill to Pai Mai, is extremely precious. Generally speaking, 100 Pai Mai Dan can create a peak cultivator for Pai Mai. The only flaw is that refining this pill takes a long time. Often, it takes half a month or even several months to refine a pill. But Ning Fan took a pill into his abdomen, and its power instantly dissipated, flowing rapidly along the yin-yang demon meridian. In just 1 short stick of incense, the technique had been thoroughly refined. At this moment, Ning Fan's momentum spread all over his body, causing snowflakes to fly wildly. He opened his eyes and felt the cultivation of the 2nd layer of meridian opening in his body, somewhat incredulous. Even if it is an ancient demon vein, it will take a long time to refine the pulse-opening pill. But my own yin and yang demon veins, with just a stick of incense, completely absorbed the power of the elixir. Compared to other ancient demon veins, their refining speed was countless times faster. Is this the secret of the chaotic ancient emperor's reign in ancient times? Huan, alchemy, invincible in the world. It is said that the demon path enters the realm at lightning speed, but the chaotic ancient emperor, who is possessed by demons, entering the realm is simply a demon. He took another pulse-opening pill and refined it. In the wind and snow, no one noticed that Ning Fan's cultivation was climbing step by step. Refine 5 pulse-piercing pills to break through the 3 layers of pulse-piercing. Refining 12 pulse-piercing pills, breaking through the 4 layers of pulse-piercing. Refining 21 pulse-piercing pills, breaking through the 5 layers of pulse-piercing. After taking 30 pulse-opening pills, Ning Fan suddenly stood up, with a rainbow-like aura all over his body. 33 Pulse Cultivator. 5 levels of cultivation for clearing meridians. At this moment, in the early morning near noon, in just 1 morning, Ning Fan has reached the 5th level of pulse opening. This is more than 10,000 times faster than the 6-month deadline given to him by the old demon. He took a deep breath, reached out his hand, and black flames surged out of his fingers, scorching his brilliance. At this moment, using black magic flame is already very handy. Taking a deep breath, Ning Fan closed his eyes, calmed his mood, and his heart remained calm. Open your eyes again, looking at the snow sky, but remain silent. I want to break through the Rongling and then form the golden elixir. The Haining Ning family and Qianli sect, all their enmities, are deeply ingrained in my heart. Qianli sect is far stronger than Qimei city, and even stronger than Gike sect. The Haining Ning family is not easy. But I have this great opportunity to use it well. Don't be afraid of Qianli, don't be afraid of the Ning family. Inheriting the memory of the immortal emperor, Ning Fan knows that Ninggu is different from him. I am an ordinary cauldron furnace, but Ninggu is a Xianxia cauldron furnace. The Xianxia Ding furnace requires cultivating Ninggu to the melting spirit stage, and then mating to seize yang. And the female demon who can afford to use the Xianxia cauldron furnace is at least the golden core cultivator. Ning Fan needs strength, and he has sworn to rescue Ninggu. He will not break his promise. Fortunately, the cultivation of the Xianxia Ding furnace is extremely complex, and Ning Fan has at least 10 years to prepare. Within 10 years, Ninggu Hui will be safe and sound, which is the best news. His words were just talking to himself, but outside the wall, a cold female voice could be heard. Qianli sect, the water is very deep. Don't provoke me, it's wonderful. Ling will go, just send me to death. Going with the golden pill is also very dangerous. Immediately, there was the sound of the woman's footsteps departing. Who is it? Ning Fan left the snow courtyard and saw the back of a woman who had gone far away. This woman is dressed in white clothes, her fragrant shoulders are as thin as a blade, the dark clouds are held high, and her waist and limbs are plump with a squeeze. She stood in the desolate wind and snow, leaving only Ning Fan's back. As if sensing Ning Fan chasing after her, she stopped her steps and suddenly turned back. The green silk is like a waterfall, with a plum blossom pinned to her ears and temples. Her beautiful eyes are like orchids in an empty valley, her eyebrows and eyes are graceful, and her appearance is cold. But her gaze was desolate and helpless, evoking pity in life. This sorrow was only for a moment, and in the next moment, it turned into a sharp sword-like gaze, causing Ning Fan to involuntarily take a few steps back, his face slightly shocked. "You're not allowed to follow me." The woman walked up to a plum tree and her figure suddenly dispersed and dissipated. Ghost. Monsters. Ning Fan stopped his steps and gazed at the plum tree. Under the plum tree, there stands a short tomb with 2 characters on it, elegant and not lacking in sword bones. Daoguo next to the grave, there is a blue stone, 2 zhang high, with 3 sword marks on it. The 3 sword marks were completely different. Ning Fan stood beside the blue stone, pondering silently, without any intention of leaving for a long time. In the tomb, an impatient female voice immediately came out, "Why haven't you left yet? It's annoying at my doorstep, you know." "Did you cut this sword mark?" Ning Fan asked in response to the tomb. "So what? You don't understand swordsmanship. You're a disciple of Han Yuanji, and you're not a good person either." The woman seems to have a prejudice against the old demon. Ning Fan shook his head. Shouldn't this woman be killed by an old demon? Ning Fan did not know that it was herself who had prejudices against this woman. For 2 consecutive nights, the woman heard the moans of Ning Fan and the paper crane entangled, making it impossible for her to sleep all night. In her heart, Ning Fan is a scoundrel, that's all. A scoundrel cannot understand swordsmanship. Well, he's not leaving. Maybe he saw my beautiful appearance and approached me. I ignored him, he felt bored and left. The woman thought this way, no matter what, she stopped talking. The tomb was silent for a moment, only smelling wind and snow. But Ning Fan still stood in front of the blue stone, seeming lost in thought and hesitant. For a long time, suddenly he reached out and touched the first sword mark. His action surprised the woman and made her give a coquettish reprimand. "You're not allowed to touch the sword marks." "No, no. You're shameless. These 3 sword marks are related to one's own oath, how can a man easily touch them?" "Humph. If you don't touch it, then don't touch it. Isn't that turning fire into a sword? Ning Fan withdrew his palm, his face turned cold, and he turned around to leave. I only feel that the woman in the tomb is inexplicable in my heart. Although a person is beautiful, their temperament is too solitary, no wonder they are called Daoguo. Just touching the sword mark and realizing the sword energy, and then being scolded as shameless. After Ning Fan left, the woman in the tomb suddenly appeared, pure as 7 plums and as fragrant as orchids. Her eyes were originally cold, and she looked at Ning Fan's back with a pretty face as cold as ice. Under cover, fortunately I stopped it quickly, otherwise if Ning Fan touched the sword energy, it would be troublesome. But when she saw the first sword energy on the blue stone, she was almost so angry that she was about to cry. The sword energy, when touched by Ning Fan, has dissipated without a trace and has been collected by Ning Fan. Damn it. But fortunately, I stopped it quickly. Otherwise, let him erase the 3 sword energies, wouldn't I marry him? On one hand, I feel sad, on the other hand, I feel fortunate. 40 years of solitude, at this moment, I unintentionally feel a bit lost. In 40 years, the first person who understood the meaning of his sword was actually driven away by himself. That scoundrel, looking at himself, doesn't seem to have a frivolous expression. Isn't he a scoundrel? Will he still come? Ning Fan walked quickly towards the main hall of the Siphon Palace, but did not notice that there was an additional sword energy in his body, which belonged to the girl's sword energy. That sword energy was gradually refined and mastered by Ning Fan. Wei Qi brought the medicinal herbs, while he went directly to the alchemy room to refine them. Although Wei Qi did not bring the pan-mo grass, Ning Fan did not care. Outside the alchemy room, Wei Qi and others were anxious. Because today, Ning Fan refined a pill called Sun and Moon Pill, specifically designed for the treatment of meridians by Mei Wei. Is the young master a three-turn alchemist? It's impossible. The Lord is only a three-turn alchemist. Sun and Moon Pill, what kind of pill is this? But judging from the medicinal materials, it is indeed a three-turn alchemist. Can the young master refine it? Can it be true? Make a fuss. If you keep arguing, get out of here. At some point, the old demon also appeared outside the alchemy room. In fact, his mood at this moment was the same as that of Wei Qi, and he was eager to know if Ning Fan could refine the three transformations pill. Yesterday, Ning Fan refined the second transformation pill, and the old demon watched the entire process. The alchemy technique had some intricate details that the old demon himself couldn't understand. I have only been an alchemist for 3 times. If Ning can refine 3 times the elixir, wouldn't he be at the same level as me in alchemy? I haven't taught him alchemy yet. He self-taught it. The old demon was thinking, and with a loud bang, the sound of a furnace exploding could be heard from the alchemy room. Zhaoshuyuan.com, did the furnace explode? The old demon pushed the door in, and the room was filled with black smoke. With a flick of his sleeve, the smoke and dust dispersed. In the alchemy room, the alchemy cauldron did indeed explode, but the pills were also refined. The ground is covered with silver pills, estimated to be 100 or 10. But Ning Fan was knocked unconscious by the impact of the blast furnace. The young master's alchemy was successful. Wei Qi was pleasantly surprised and looked over. He took out a single bottle and picked up the pill on the ground, completely forgetting to care about Ning Fan, who was unconscious. And the old demon's mood at this moment is truly complex. Looking at Ning Fan, it's both liking and nostalgia. Genius disciple, who doesn't like it? Especially in the Black Demon sect, where the teacher is the father and the younger brother is the son. However, thinking that Ning Fan probably won't be long before he surpasses himself, he feels a bit conflicted in his heart. Even if it's an ancient demon vein, this talent seems too demonic. The old demon picked up Ning Fan like a chicken and prepared to send him back to rest. At this moment, he glanced at the ding on the ground and saw that it was cut in half vertically, with a smooth cut surface that was as sharp as the sword energy. So the old demon was completely stunned. Transforming fire into sword. The sword energy of Dugu's little girl. Is Ning related to Dugu? He has gained a few sword energies. What did he do with Dugu? I can't help but let the old demon not be entangled. Old Mo only loved one woman in his lifetime, and Dugu was the only sister of that woman. If Ning had any relationship with Dugu, he would have switched sides with me. The old demon was actually worried about this. Chapter 10. Daoguo Auction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the annals of the Immortal Emperor, an interesting story is recorded. When Immortal Emperor Ning Fan was young, he accidentally used the sword energy of turning fire into a sword to condense the earth fire into a sword, and with one sword, he chopped the alchemy cauldron into pieces. In a coma, Ning Fan fell into a dream. In my dream, I was in a gloomy world, where there stood 1,000 Zhuang fire monument. This is the Xianin realm. Under the monument, a woman with an indistinct face seemed to be sleeping. Behind her, there is a vast expanse of magic, and a black and white sun hangs high. You're not shattered. Ning Fan said in a daze. Lang Jun, you can't peek. The woman gave a dreamy smile, exhaled like a orchid, and blew out a fragrant breeze, blowing Ning Fan out of her dreams. On the bed, Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes, feeling a bit dizzy. The dream he had just had has been forgotten, only vaguely remembering that he had dreamed of the woman in the lock. At the moment of his awakening, the voice of a mysterious woman really rang out in his mind. Sister, you'll have to sleep for at least another few decades. Don't wake her up. Next time, don't peek. You're sleeping again. The mysterious woman fell asleep, and Ning Fan's head gradually cleared up. It was only then that she realized she was lying naked on the bed, with many wounds all over her body, as if caused by an explosion in the furnace. Beside the bed, the paper crane was blushing with a small face, holding a basin and carefully wiping its wounds. In addition to the paper crane, there was also the old demon staring at him with a conflicted expression. The old demon's gaze was fixed on his lower body, struggling with this. Hee, kid Ning, there's a future ahead. Ning Fan's vest is cold, and heaven knows what the future the old demon is talking about. Putting on his clothes, Ning Fan turned around and the old demon still looked at him with a strange expression, as if he couldn't speak. Who knows, the old demon who kills without calculation turned out to be an introverted old man. Master, if you have any questions, please ask. How many times can you refine elixirs in your alchemy now? 4 turns. Hiss. Did you learn alchemy on your own? The old demon took a deep breath and rubbed his hands in his sleeves, his face flushed with embarrassment. I didn't say it. Before I was captured by the Hehuan sect, I was a doctor who treated immortals, and it was strange that I could refine pills. Okay. As a demon cultivator, it's all about telling lies. The more I look at you, the more satisfied I am. The old demon saw at a glance that Ning Fan was talking nonsense, but he was even happier. Mo Xiu should be mysterious and mysterious. Dan Fong wrote a copy for me. I will go to refine the pill myself and then close the door. The Daoguo auction in Chime City was originally my task, and I entrusted it to you to host it. The auction was messed up, and I killed you. You can't bear to kill me. Ning Fan muttered inwardly, took a pen and paper, and wrote down the 7 Yin Yang Xian Dan prescription, clearly indicating the proportion of medicinal herbs and the precautions for alchemy. After all, the old demon is only an alchemist with 3 transformations, and Ning Fan is worried that the old demon will not be able to refine 4 transformations. The elixir that concerns the life and death of demonic cultivation must be personally refined, and no one can believe it. This is the iron rule of demonic cultivation. The old demon's words were varied, but Ning Fan could see that he did not distrust himself when refining the elixir himself, but rather did not want to lose face. My apprentice has already transformed into an alchemist 4 times, and I have only undergone 3 transformations myself. I even claim to be the bullshit Han Yaozuan, and I'm going to lose face in public. I must refine the 4 transformations pill and not let my disciples compete. The old demon wanted face, he wanted face to death. However, as he glanced at the prescription and saw Ning Fan's detailed instructions on how to control the fire in each step, he suddenly felt a bit uncomfortable. I'm not just learning how to refine pills, but I also mark them step by step. Etc. This step, this technique, Dan is divided into 2 aggregates. What does it mean? How come I can't understand? Well, this step, I also need to collect fire and enter the pill. How to collect it? Why haven't I seen this technique before? He looked a bit ugly, not because Ning Fan marked it clearly, but because Ning Fan explained the alchemy steps too little. I can't understand it, I can't understand it. Ning kid, alchemy is really above me. I have never seen this alchemy technique before. Do you want to ask Ning for advice? He just thought to himself and immediately blushed like a persimmon, shaking his head non. Stop. If I had asked Ning for advice, he would have come back to his mother's womb and had no face to see anyone. He held the elixir and put on an aged expression, as if admiring Ning Fan. Well, it's not bad. I've read this prescription and there's nothing wrong with it. Actually, I know about this prescription. I asked you to write it to test your understanding of alchemy. Well, you're qualified. The old demon waved his sleeves and walked out of the room, while the little paper crane took a big breath and patted his chest. Brother Fan, it's so close. Fortunately, your prescription was not written incorrectly. Otherwise, this old demon would have killed you. This little girl, with a pure mind, was intimidated by the old devil's pretense. Ning Fan chuckled and patted the small head of the paper crane. Looking at the back of the old demon, he vaguely felt that this old demon, who had no intention of killing, was also somewhat cute. This 7 Yin Yang Xian Dan is a prescription created by the chaotic ancient emperor. The old demon only saw ghosts and tested himself after knowing the prescription. Just now, the old demon obviously frowned twice. Obviously, there were 2 steps on the prescription that he couldn't understand, and pretended. Haha, this old demon is quite interesting. Ning Fan's heart was filled with joy. He had never imagined that cultivating demons would be such a joyful thing after encountering an old demon. The paper crane gazed at Ning Fan with big eyes and a smile, and as he watched, he became mesmerized. Brother Fan laughed and looked very beautiful. In order to save face, Lao Mo completely abandoned Chime City and entrusted Ning Fan with a task. To host the Daoguo auction. The old demon spoke lightly, which made Ning Fan mistakenly think that this auction would be a small matter. But later, he realized he was wrong. The venue of the Daoguo auction is in the Xianxia Pavilion. That extremely mysterious and powerful force. Hosting an auction is not as simple as selling something. Daoguo is an extremely precious item. On the day of the auction, countless Rongling and even Jindan experts will visit the 7 Plum City. Receiving these old monsters and maintaining the security of Chime has become Ning Fan's top priority. If there is no old demon to suppress the situation, and there is really an old monster named Jindan who kills and causes trouble in Chime City, will Ning Fan take care of it or not? No matter what, the auction will be messed up. What should I take to deal with the old monster of Jindan? In addition to maintaining public order, Ning Fan also needs to contact all forces in Chime City to attend the auction together. 7 Plum City, apart from the 3 demon guards of the Black Demon 3 divine armies, the remaining demon cultivators belong to the 4 major families of 7 Plum. The 4 major families seem to look down upon Ning Fan extremely, while among the 3 demon guards, except for Mei Wei led by Yu Qi, the other 2 guards do not sell Ning Fan's face at all. He asked Wei Qi to send an invitation to invite representatives from the 3 guards and 4 tribes to discuss the auction, but in the end, no one was invited. Do these people want to give themselves a boost? Sure enough, no matter what you do, you have to rely on your strength to convince others. Wei Qi, I heard that the Situ commander of the Sword Guard has black grass in his mansion. It seems that he is most opposed to me becoming the 7 Plum Young Master and the commander of the Plum Guard. Ning Fan's tone was extremely faint in the main hall of the Siphon Palace. Speaking to the young master, my second brother has a stubborn temper and has prejudices against him, but he probably has no ill intentions. If anyone were there, they would have noticed that at this moment, the commander of the Mei Wei in the hall, Wei Qi, was a ruthless figure who killed like nodding his head, yet obediently obeyed Ning Fan. At this moment, Wei Qi completely subdued Ning Fan. Ning Fan is a 3-turn alchemist. An alchemist who can refine elixirs for the golden elixir period. In the state of you, wherever you go, you can enjoy the treatment of a master in the golden elixir period. An alchemist of this level has an extremely terrifying appeal. As long as he says one word and wants to kill anyone, there may be countless righteous and demonic spiritual fusion masters who will obey Ning Fan's orders for a pill. Even if the elixir is cherished a little, even if the golden elixir is an old monster, it will come to help Ning Fan. Zhaozhuiyuan.com. Once upon a time, the old demon was a 3-turn alchemist. When attacking the right path, with a single command, countless demons would respond and follow. That scene. TSK in his heart, Wei Qi imagined the grand scene of Ning Fan's attack on the right path, and he remembered Ning Fan's terrifying murderous aura that day, which he admired even more. When can we go out and kick a legitimate sect with the young master? That would be a pleasant thing. It's been years since we last killed someone or kicked a sect in a serious way. As he imagined the future, Ning Fan's voice rang out. Yuqi, wake up, don't be distracted, I'm talking to you. Cough cough. Young master, I'm sorry, I was impolite. Wei Qi finally regained consciousness from his delusion and looked at Ning Fan eagerly. Young master, could you please repeat what you just said? I said, you lead the way, I'll go to the Sword Guard mansion, meet Situ, and pull up his black grassland. Hiss. Young master, I can't do it. Second brother has a big prejudice against you. His sword energy is fierce and unparalleled, and he kills and drinks blood. If he sees you, what will happen to you? The city lord will blame his subordinates. Wei Qi was worried, and Situ would fight with Ning Fan. Before, I refined 100 sun and moon pills, and there should be 100 plum guards who have already broken through the bottleneck of the 5th layer of pulse opening. Ning Fan smiled inexplicably. Take these 100 plum guards and show them to the commander of Situ. I, Ning Fan, am qualified to lead the plum guards and become the 7 plum young masters. For collection and recommendation, I am so proud of my brothers in Xiuyao. The combination has finally been listed on the new book classification list, give it more strength.